Naruto's Strongest Talent, Chapter 401 to 420. 401 I give you a chance. Hanzo sensed Chen's chakra, and his expression changed slightly. His family, Akatsuki's own affairs, Hanzo really felt Chen's terrifying, and he was probably not an opponent. Under such circumstances, Hanzo, who was naturally cautious and suspicious, did not dare to act rashly, not to mention that Hanzo also saw Nagato behind Chen. The kid with Rinnegan also stood obediently behind Chen, as if he was letting him be manipulated, but the flames in his eyes seemed to burn him, making Hanzo feel jealous. Hanzo was already thinking about how to escape. Fortunately, his instant body technique is very strong, and he may be able to use the instant body technique to escape Hanzo's flickering eyes, secretly thinking in his heart. But Chen could see Hanzo's thoughts at a glance. Hanzo, don't you want to use the flashing technique to escape? You have no chance. Enchantment, seal enchantment. Chen instantly hand seal, only to see the enchantment suddenly spread around, encompassing everything. This enchantment has a range of several thousand meters, and the surrounding chakra surges, forming a transparent chakra wall, blocking entry and exit. Chen has taken everything into consideration, and deliberately asked the old six paths to teach a spirit formation ninjutsu to deal with Hanzo's instant body technique. Otherwise, Hanzo's instant body technique is really a little troublesome, and it takes some effort to deal with it. But now in this enchantment, everything is left to Chen's call, which will be much easier. Damn, it's formation ninjutsu. Hanzo's expression changed, and finally his color changed. He understood that Chen was definitely going to cut the weeds down this time. The surrounding Omegakers were also extremely panicked, and their eyes were full of fear. As soon as Chen made his move, he turned this area of thousands of meters into a barrier, proving his unfathomable strength. Why not let these Omegakers panic? Hanzo, you can't escape. If I want you to die, you can't escape. Chen shook his head gently, strolled in the courtyard, and slowly stepped forward. Hanzo looked at Chen, and at the same time he noticed the people behind Chen, Konan, Nagato, Sasori, Kaku, the two elders, all of them were at least the strength of Quenying, so many masters made Hanzo watch all of a sudden. The scalp was numb, and I felt my heart skip a beat. How could Uchiha Chen? I didn't expect you to be always. Arrangement, this Akatsuki's power, actually always been under your control, became so terrifying. Hanzo was extremely shocked and murmured. Chen smiled. Hanzo, if Akatsuki can be dispatched in full, the Kingdom of Rain will officially change hands from today, and it will no longer belong to you. It's only your fault for provoking someone you can't offend. A hint of unwillingness flashed in Hanzo's eyes, and he also knew that this time he was more fortunate, but because of this, Hanzo was even more unwilling. You are so numerous, what are you? Half-mouthed. Oh. Chen sneered. Hanzo didn't say anything about the crowd when he was ambushing Mi. But Chen also smiled lightly. Since there are so many of you, I can. To give you a chance. Well, I will deal with you alone. You can use the strongest ninjutsu, I will wait. Chen's tone moved everyone's hearts. Everyone is looking at Chen. Chen actually intends to give Hanzo a chance to know that if a strong person like Hanzo uses all his strength, it is very scary. Chen really has absolute certainty in the eyes of many Omegaker in the field. A glimmer of hope, looking at Hanzo. There was also a flash of ecstasy in Hanzo's eyes. He was waiting for Chen's words. In fact, how could an old fox like Hanzo not have the ninjutsu to save his own life, especially with Hanzo's cautious personality? Hanzo has long learned a kind of ninjutsu. This ninjutsu is the forbidden technique. It is extremely powerful and may hurt itself, but it can have several times the power in an instant. Now that he heard Chen's words, Hanzo slammed hand seal and shouted, Secret art, the art of wind demon surge. Feng Mo's sudden increase. Shuchen squinted his eyes, but saw the second elder's complexion changed. No, it's the forbidden technique used by this Feng Mo clan. Hanzo can actually use it. Trouble. This forbidden technique can instantly inspire itself. 3 to 5 times the potential, making the strength instantly become extremely strong. This forbidden technique. Everyone's expressions changed slightly. I only saw that a large number of chakras began to appear on Hanzo's body. The chakras were earth-shattering, breaking through the sky, and converging in midair. The chakras seemed to be able to tear apart this space. The light blue chakras were highly condensed, under which the color has changed. The light blue chakra has become blue and deep, full of terrifying power. It is as real as it is shocking. The ground is cracked, there is no wind in the sky, and the scene is like doomsday. It's scary, Hanzo, he actually has such a strong forbidden technique. Conan's expression tightened, looking at Chen, his eyes filled with worry. The third elder also changed his face and said, "This is the forbidden technique that the Fengmo clan has long lost. I didn't expect Hanzo to actually learn it. This forbidden technique is called the magic of storms, which can instantly stimulate people's potential, making the amount of chakra triple to 5 times, but it is also extremely energy intensive, and it will take at least 10 years to use it once. Lifespan. Such a horrible forbidden technique." Conan was even more worried. But those Omegaker's hearts were filled with anticipation and looked at Hanzo. Hanzo really lived up to the name of a demigod and looked extremely terrifying. If nothing else, the terrifying amount of chakra alone was enough to be astonishing. Terrible. As expected of Mr. Hanzo. Haha, there is hope now, even if it is a legend of the stars. Hanzo-sama's strength is so strong, he will definitely be able to stop it. These Omegakers seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw, and they were all excited, and their faces turned yuhi. The second update, please automatically ask for a reward, if you want to hit the wall and read the novel without underline. 402 The appointment of 3 moves, I only use 3 moves. Hanzo's aura looks extremely terrifying at this time, not to mention anything else, the powerful chakra alone has reached its peak. This chakra's aura is about to shatter the surrounding enchantment. Hanzo lingered around Hanzo like a dragon, and Hanzo looked at Chen coldly. Chen said coldly, "That's it." His tone was flat, Gujing had no waves, and he still didn't seem to take Hanzo in his eyes. Hanzo laughed loudly and said in a calm tone, "Uchiha-chan, don't be too complacent. This is the forbidden technique of the ancient Fengmo clan, which has long since been lost. I'll show you its power today." Hanzo's mighty aura was revealed, the mighty power rolled up a wave of air, and the chakra was even dense like a liquid, making everyone around him discolored. Hanzo's strength is already very strong among cage-level powerhouses, and coupled with this crazy overdraft potential ninjutsu, Hanzo shows amazing power. And third elders around Chen changed color at the same time, and the second elder instructed the surrounding, "Everyone be careful, don't be attacked by Hanzo, otherwise it will be extremely dangerous." "Well, Chen, let's deal with Hanzo in this state together. I am afraid he is really in trouble in his current state," the third elder also said, looking at Chen with worry. "Don't think of Chen," but shook his head. "No need, you can stand back, I'm enough alone." Hanzo's strength is really good now, but no matter how strong he is, he can't be stronger than Uchiha Madara, and the forbidden technique power of this Fengmo family is indeed very strong, but Chen has seen some flaws. Seeing that Chen is still calm, Conan, Makoto, Kushina and other women trust Chen the most, and immediately nodded. "We know, back off." They decided to follow Chen's orders. Seeing Conan and Kushina saying so, the 3 elders only nodded, all retreated, and everyone began to retreat to avoid the upcoming attack. "HMPH, Uchiha Chen, you are so arrogant. I didn't like you as early as the Second Ninja War, but it's a pity that you didn't get rid of you, and it became a big trouble for your confidant. It's a pity." Seeing Chen so calm, Hanzo roared angrily, his eyes full of anger. As early as when Hanzo was on the battlefield of the Land of Rain, he regarded Chen-chi as his greatest enemy, and he was very vigilant about Chen, and the successive bounties and wanted orders only encouraged Chen and made Chen continue to grow. Chen heard Hanzo say this, he narrowed his eyes. Of course, he also remembered what Hanzo did at the beginning, and there was a hint of indifference in his eyes. Hanzo, you are forcing me to kill you. Chen didn't like Hanzo in the first place, and when he remembered a lot of things he did during World War II, the two had long been enemies of life and death, and at this time, he was also very special to Yuhi. You don't have this ability now. With forbidden technique, I'm not afraid of you. If I want to blame you, I can only blame you for being too arrogant. It's really courting death. Hanzo laughed loudly, roared again and again, and suddenly, really. Chen looked at him coldly. As soon as this sentence came out, all around. 3 tricks. No matter. Is the Megakure or Akatsuki is shocked. You must know that the current Hanzo is in a forbidden technique state. His strength is so terrifying that Chen can kill him with only 3 moves. It felt like everyone was stunned for a moment, all focusing on Chen's body. Chen still maintained his confidence. The arrogant boy, I knew that I would kill you with all my might. Hanzo smiled sternly, the momentum around his body surged again, the powerful chakra made the surrounding environment change, the ground under his feet sank, and the surrounding chakra rose into the sky one after another, showing a runaway state. Chen shrugged, it's a pity you don't have a chance, now it's my turn to kill you. I want to see why you killed me. Hanzo roared, his body moved, and he slammed hand seal, spirituality. Hearing a loud bang, Hanzo's psychic came out with a huge mountain pepperfish. This mountain pepperfish is Hanzo's unique psychic beast. It is highly poisonous and very powerful. Between Sanin and Hanzo, Sanin was embarrassed by this sansei fish. If it wasn't for Tsunade's powerful medical ninjutsu and his ability to detoxify, Sanin would have died long ago. The Sancho fish let out a low growl and obeyed Hanzo's orders. Chen looked at Hanzo coldly and prepared to act. All right, I'll show you how good I am. Jinten particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. Chen Faisu hand seal, the first time he opened his mouth, Jinten particle style was used. Jinten particle style. Hanzo never thought that Jinten particle style would be used when Chen hand seal was used, and he was shocked. When I jumped, I felt a cold sweat on my back. Jinten particle style, second elder, third elder, and even Makoto, Kushina and others were all stunned. When will Chen be Jinten particle style? Isn't that a ninjutsu unique to the 3rd generation of Tsuchikage? This is beyond Kekkei Genkei. The blood on the board is eliminated. When is the master's Chen meeting Jinten particle style? Even a few elders, Kushina and others are not very clear. Of course, Chen did not deliberately hide it, it was just necessary for his identity at that time. Hanzo was shocked. Jinten particle style, how can you be the one who started this ninja war and killed 3 generations of Kazekage? Hanzo's mind was changing rapidly, thinking of many things at once. War caused by a Grandmaster Jinten particle style ninja killing the 3 generations of Kazekage. It seems that that person is the Uchiha Chen in front of him, absolutely can't be wrong. Hanzo is not stupid. I understand immediately situation. Chen glanced at Hanzo, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Oh, you're not stupid, you're right, now you only care about calculations all day long, how can you still look like a demigod back then? Chen shook his head, the hand seal in his hand was completed, and suddenly, Jinten's particle style, round Jinchuriki column body flashed out, shone brightly, and included Hanzo. Hanzo's expression changed greatly. If Jinten particle style attack, it will immediately become a molecular state. 3 shifts, ask for everything, the 403 shocked Hanzo, shocked everyone. Jinten particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. With the growing strength of Chen, he has also reached a new height in the use of Jinten particle style, not even losing to the 3rd generation of Tsuchikage. And Jinten particle style has a feature, that is, it ignores everything and has a strong attack effect. As long as it is within the range of Jinten particle style, any object will disappear and become molecular. Jin's Jinten particle style is really powerful to the extreme. I only saw that the Jinten particle style has a range of hundreds of meters, covering everything, even those Omegakure around Hanzo. Seal. The technique of instant body. The technique of instant body. Hanzo used the teleportation technique one after another, quickly dodging the Jinten particle style range, and his back was already covered in cold sweat, but the Jinten particle style range was too large, so Hanzo could only dodge with all his strength. Instant technique. Chen sneered, and the range of Jinten particle style in his hands suddenly diverged. In an instant, the surrounding Omegakure, as well as the psychic beast Sanjiao that Hanzo had just channeled, all became Chen's target range. In an instant, the Sanjiakure, Omegakure, and surrounding buildings and so on. Everything, in the state of Jinten particle style, turned into nothing and turned into a molecular state. So strong. This, the range and power of Jinten particle style, unless you are completely Grandmaster Shunjutsu and Space Ninjutsu, you can't escape. The second elder muttered to himself. It's terrifying. Chen's strength is really unfathomable, even Grandmaster Jinten particle style. The third elder was also amazed, but he was a little excited. The stronger Chen's strength was, the more willing they were to see him. Yichen's current strength is indeed extremely terrifying. Hanzo used all his strength to use the Shunjutsu, which barely escaped the scope of Chen Ninjutsu, and could not help but breathe a sigh of relief, but the other Omegakure and Sanshoyu psychic beasts were not so lucky, and they all became Jinten molecules under particle style. This. Hanzo was shocked and angry. He didn't care if his subordinate died, but his psychic beast Sanjiao died. It really made him heartbroken, and his heart was a little bit of fire, and he wanted to curse out loud, but he couldn't. There is no way. Uchiha Chen. Hanzo bit Kiba, gnashing his teeth, and said in a solemn tone, I must kill you. This is the first move. Chen opened his mouth lightly. I must kill you. Seeing Chen's indifferent appearance, Hanzo jumped like thunder, roared again and again, and almost lost his mind. At this time, Chen still remembered the appointment of 3 moves, and he really ignored him at all. Under Hanzo's rage, he raised chakra. Even if you can, what about Jinten particle style? I can kill you as long as you can't hand seal. At this time, Hanzo slammed towards Chen and used the technique of blinking. Almost in an instant, he arrived in front of Chen. Hanzo's technique of blinking was indeed extremely powerful. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, survives an attack. Hanzo sees Tatsu Grandmaster Jinten particle style like this. Terrifying ninjutsu. I also thought of a way to deal with it, that is to fight Chen close. I saw Hanzo rush forward in a rage, holding his weapon sickle in his hand. He slashed out and stabbed directly into Chen's body. Heart. Chen's body seemed to have blood flowing out, but Hanzo was stunned for a moment. It was so simple and successful. Then, Chen's body turned into a little bit of debris and scattered. Was still standing in the distance. Chen shook his head and said softly, Hanzo, people tend to lose their minds when they are in hatred. Such a simple demonic illusion of mine will make you fall for a moment. You really live more and more. Back. Demonic illusion. Hanzo was shocked. As expected, it was just a demonic illusion clone who defeated Kochen just now. Hanzo instinctively felt that he was in the game and wanted to withdraw, but it was too late. Amaterasu. Chen used demonic illusion to confuse Hanzo for a moment, and it was enough. Chen gathered his eyes and used Amaterasu suddenly. Amaterasu. When I saw Chen looking at Hanzo, a flame burst out, and the strong power spread wildly, and the fire of Amaterasu spread all over Hanzo in an instant. The white fire of Amaterasu seemed to be Chen's left and right hands, and was still controlled by Chen. Due to Yang Dun's control, Chen's control of Amaterasu is no less than Sasuke's own life. Under such circumstances, Amaterasu spread, burning Hanzo's entire body, and spreading rapidly. Fortunately, Hanzo was wrapped in a layer of chakra at this time, which could temporarily resist Amaterasu's attack, but despite this, Amaterasu's scorching high temperature also made Hanzo scream. Immediately, Hanzo only saw the fire of Amaterasu all over his right arm. Hanzo screamed, but he also acted decisively and cut off his right arm. Not Chen's opponent at all. This moment that Hanzo didn't understand how terrifying Chen really was. Mangekyo in Chen's eyes looks mysterious and supreme, and the pattern of the eternal Mangekyo makes Hanzo even more shocked. You. Hanzo was almost speechless. Although the chakra on his body was still terrifying, his aura was far less arrogant than before. There was even a hint of fear in his eyes, which was the fear of Chen from the bottom of his heart. Who would have thought that Chen would have such power? Impossible, my chakra is already so strong, even you may not be able to beat me. What's the matter? Hanzo shook his head, his tone was harsh, and he even broke down a bit. In all fairness, after Hanzo performed the forbidden technique, chakra was indeed not much weaker than Chen, and even enough to be called a threat, but in the fight, Chen always grasped the initiative of the battle, making Hanzo completely puzzled. Why is this, Hanzo? It's over. Never imagined that the so-called demigods only have this level, which really disappoints me. Chen said lightly. For automatic, for subscription, for reward. This chapter is free, a grand introduction to a book. Right, I recommend a book, hehe, this book is a bit special. Why is it special? Because it is Zigwa's own book that is back to entertainment, and there are many manuscripts, and it is a must-see for those who like entertainment. Book title, Running Man, Magic Entertainment Emperor. When he woke up, Yinan found that he had crossed over with a god-level entertainment system. What surprised Yinan was that his time travel identity was actually a student of the film academy and the boyfriend of the goddess Lu Yifei. At this time, Lu Yifei had just turned 18 years old. Since then, Yinan has started his journey to sweep the entertainment industry against the sky road. He surprises countless people with magic and is honored as the god of magic. He is the greatest star of this era and the most worthy idol. The only fly in the ointment is that he has too many scandals. Time Magazine, Review. Friends who like it can support it, and those who don't like it can continue to support my Six Paths Fairy. The update will not fall, everyone can rest assured. Also, this chapter is free. Is no charge for a single chapter of Filu exceeding 100 words, please rest assured. For the inconvenience caused. 404 You were alive before, I didn't kill you. A look of panic flashed in Hanzo's eyes, and Chen said lightly, the second move is over, the third move is next, you will die. Chen's words were like a judgment. In the distance, there were some Omegakers who were not within the attack range of Jinten particle style just now. They were too frightened to speak. Hanzo's eyes were even more frightened, knowing that Chen's next move would definitely be a powerful and terrifying blow, only to see a terrifying chakra surging around Chen's body. This chakra with majestic vitality is the symbol of Yangdun's sexual chakra. This chakra emerged, making the atmosphere in the field completely different. The strong chakra rose into the sky and attacked the audience. On Chen's body, there is also a golden glow, which is Susanoo that belongs to him alone. Susanoo appeared, two swords in hand, white flames lingering. This powerful and terrifying force made Hanzo tremble in shock. Hanzo's face was as pale as earth, and his eyes flashed with surprise, looking very frightened. You. Chen smiled coldly. Give me death. Chen dashed forward, his figure flashed instantly. Susanoo stepped out with one foot, and with the power of a giant from top to bottom, his double swords burst into a scorching light, slashing straight down, and slashing towards Hanzo. At this critical moment, Hanzo also roared. He knew that he would definitely die, but he was even more crazy. I will drag you into the water when I die. Uchiha-chan, you will die with me too. Hanzo roared and shouted loudly. Chen sneered and turned to show a very strong attack power. As Chen's means, Susanoo showed amazing power, and the power of a sword was enough to break mountains and break mountains. Hanzo counterattacked on the verge of death, his chakra poured out frantically, pouring out like a lifeless, astonishingly huge chakra that made everyone around him speechless. If you just look at the amount of chakra, Hanzo's chakra is really terrifying to the extreme, and the power of the forbidden technique he paid for his life is indeed extraordinary. The chakras of Hanzo form a chakra dragon, which violently pounces on Susanoo of Chen. The wind and clouds in the air changed color, rolled up layers of air waves, and the wind was surging everywhere, just like the doomsday scene of a hurricane. It's terrifying that Chen and Hanzo in such a state will have such a big impact. Hanzo has already disregarded his own life and death, and there is only one thought in his mind, that is, to pull Chen into the water, and drag Chen to die together. In this state, Hanzo's offensive is also more and more fierce. And Chen's Susanoo was also raised to a state, but Chen only made a sword. Susanoo is the power of the eternal Mangekyo, which belongs to Yin Dun, and Amaterasu, which is in charge of Susanoo, is blessed by the power of Yang Dun of Chen, and belongs to the power of Yang Dun. The power of Yin and Yang is now one. The two forces converged, and Rong Huichin whispered, Shinra Bansho, all creation, return to one sword. Hanzo, it is your honor to die under this sword. Shinra Bansho, all creation, all in one sword. Only see the power of Yin and Yang. Into one, Susanoo seemed to have reached the peak of his strength, slammed down from the top, and slashed out with a sword. Out of the sword, the stone is shocking, and the wind is surging. Everything in the world seemed to stand still, everything was under the control of Chen's sword, and this sword came in an instant, tearing everything apart. From a distance, there is only one color between heaven and earth. Seems that the sky, the earth, the clouds, and the rain are all eclipsed, and in front of this sword, they can only bow their heads and bow their heads. This is the power of Yin and Yang. The power of Yin and Yang, and now his understanding of Yin and Yang is in this sword. The full power of Hanzo was also revealed, and the chakra dragon slammed into Chen all this. But the results were astonishing. I only saw that Hanzo's chakralong was directly cut into two pieces by this sword as if cutting tofu, and the chakralong was completely broken. Hanzo's all-out counterattack before his death was so easily resolved by Chen. Boom! Immediately afterwards, the power of Susanoo's sword continued to spread, and Hanzo no longer had any resistance, and was easily killed by this sword. Blood splattered 3 feet, Hanzo's pupils were blurred, and he fell to the ground. Hanzo's eyes flashed with a strong look of unwillingness, he still had the last breath left, and he was about to die. The surrounding Omegakers were all stunned, Konan, Nagato and others were also stunned. That sword just now. Konan murmured to himself, his eyes suddenly shining brightly, and his eyes have been condensed on Chen's body, unwilling to let go. And Kushina and Makoto are the same, all looking at Chen, their eyes are a bit blurred. Which girl does not respect the strong, let alone Chen, who is their most beloved person? As for the second elder, the third elder, and the others, they all looked at each other in dismay, and were extremely shocked. Even Hanzo is in the state of forbidden technique, it is no longer Chen's opponent Chen's strength, it is really terrible to ultimate, it is really surprising and unexpected. Too strong. Chen finished this sword, looked at Hanzo who was dying, and said lightly, Hanzo, the reason you were alive before was that I was too lazy to kill you. Bitterness and unwillingness in Hanzo's eyes, he could feel the vitality in his body disappearing little by little. Hanzo murmured in a low voice, I still don't understand why I can clearly feel the amount of chakra after using the forbidden technique. It's not much worse than you, but the strength is vastly different. Before Hanzo died, he asked a question that made him unwilling. If he does not know the answer to this question, he will not rest his eyes in death. Everyone pricked up their ears, waiting for Chen's answer. They are also very curious about this question. In fact, after Hanzo used the forbidden technique, the amount of chakra was not inferior to Chen at all, but he was so fragile and vulnerable in front of Chen. 405 gap. Ask for full order. Everyone was curious, and Hanzo posed an explanation for the question just before his death. Chen looked at Hanzo's dying state, and said lightly, since you want to know, I'll tell you. Reason is very simple, although you got power out of thin air, but you don't know the powerful power of Master, it's just a powerful empty shell. real power be obtained through this shortcut? The second elder, the third elder, and others around were stunned for a moment, and they were all thoughtful. This was the first time Chen had said such a thing, but it made them feel like they were enlightened. The real power, how can it be possible to get through a mere secret technique? The forbidden technique can get that as its own comprehension and perception, accumulated little by little. Of course, the reincarnation of Asura and Indra is an exception to this pervert, but even so, Naruto and Sasuke don't know how much effort they put in to have the strength in the later stages of the plot. Chen looked at everyone thoughtfully, and said indifferently, Hanzo, although you are called a demigod, you are far from the same. When you are in this state now, gaining power is like a 3-year-old child holding a magical weapon, and he doesn't know how to use this power correctly. How can he be my opponent? This sentence caused Hanzo to move his eyes suddenly, the luster suddenly brightened, and then quickly dimmed. So it is, so it is. Hanzo smiled wryly, his injury was too serious. After getting this answer, he no longer had the strength to fall on the spot, closed his eyes and never regained consciousness. Chen's words were also spread throughout the venue, and everyone was thinking about it. What Chen said was right. Although Hanzo used forbidden technique to forcibly improve his strength and get power, he couldn't control this power at all, because this power was not all his own. This is like a 2 or 3-year-old child holding a magic weapon. This child can't even walk steadily. You still expect him to fight with a magic weapon. So from the beginning, Chen has the chance to win. Moved by this battle, from the very beginning, is doomed with gaps and results. Chen cast his eyes on the field and glanced at Nagato. In fact, Nagato is also the same. Nagato is actually unable to master his own Rinnegan power, otherwise it is impossible to use a Rinnegan to become weak like this, and forcibly channel out Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Just because Nagato's Rinnegan is not his own at all, but Uchiha Madara's, so Nagato can't completely master the power of master. This is also the reason why Chen is afraid of Nagato's Rinnegan, but he doesn't completely take it to heart. Nagato can only be Nagato, and his achievements are limited to this, and he can never become Uchiha Madara. Fortunately, Nagato is a member of the Uzumaki clan after all, and there is a strong power in his natural blood, which is much stronger than Hanzo. Hanzo is dead. Hanzo, the leader of the Land of Rain, died. Hanzo has ruled the country of rain for at least decades, and his own strength is also unquestionably powerful, and is regarded as a demigod by countless ninjas. He once achieved a legendary record, fighting against Sannin alone, and still has an advantage. This is enough to prove the strength of Hanzo. Now the man in this myth and legend, the man known as a demigod in the ninja world, fell in front of Chen, and even with all his strength in Chen's hands, he did not resist the 3 moves. This shows how powerful Chen is. Strong. Chen's eyes were stern, looking at the remaining Omegakers in front of him. Chen didn't intend to kill all these Omegakers. After all, Chen's purpose is to conquer the country of rain, not to kill all the ninjas in the country of rain. These ninjas can be used by him. Chen looked at these Omegakers lightly, and said, if you are willing to surrender, you will not kill those who surrender. Those who descend do not kill. Simple sentence made all these Omegakers feel like they had been granted amnesty, and they all put down their weapons and looked at Chen with excitement. Chen's display of power just now was really shocking, and none of them were not shocked by it. Thank you, sir, we are willing to surrender. We swear to follow the adults to the death, don't kill us. These Omegakers all put down their weapons and ninja gear, all waiting for Chen's judgment, and all of them looked at Chen, as if they were looking at a god. If it was said that Hanzo had absolute dominance over the Land of Rain before, then this Akatsuki's leader, this mysterious young man, this Legend of the Stars is a god to today's Land of Rain. From today onwards, the Land of Rain will do everything and accept my dispatch. Chen said lightly, second elder, third elder. In. The 2 elders came out from behind Chen in unison, respectfully, not daring to slack off. The two of you set up a seal for all the Omegakers who saw this scene today to prevent them from leaking secrets. All these Omegakers are handed over to you. Chen rode. Yes. The two elders looked excited and nodded sharply. Chen had great trust in the two elders. After all, these two were from the Uchiha clan, and they vowed to follow him to the death, and their loyalty was beyond doubt. The two elders are also very excited. They can see that Chen is really going to do something earth-shattering. In just a short time, even the country of Rain has been captured by Chen. Such a powerful force is indeed Uchiha, the patriarch of a clan. The Uchiha clan may be rejuvenated from Chen's hands, and even become stronger than before, more terrifying, far beyond the period of Konoha. But who of Uchiha's clan does not want to make Uchiha stronger? When the two elders were most excited, they were also loyal to Chen and obeyed completely. Chen asked the two elders to set up a sealing technique for the people of Omegakure, so that they could not reveal anything about today, otherwise the sealing technique would be activated immediately, causing them to commit suicide. Subscribe ________________. 406 Everything is in master. After Chen had arranged everything, the two elders did as they were told, and controlled all these Omegakures with sealing techniques. The entire country of Rain was under Chen's control. From today, the country of Rain is in my pocket. Chen said lightly. Behind him, Konan, Kushina, Makoto and the girls all had a hint of admiration in their eyes. I really didn't expect Chen to be so aggressive and take the kingdom of Rain into his pocket with lightning speed. Chen is the master, everything is in the master. And Nagato is full of gratitude to Chen. In Nagato's view, Chen Gang has already helped Yahiko revenge. But Chen, the news of Hanzo's death will definitely not be concealed. At that time, people from major countries will come to Omegakure village to inquire about the situation. What should we do? At this time, Kushina asked. Kushina thought more deeply and asked Chen aloud. Chen thought about it for a while, and immediately thought of a countermeasure, and said with a smile, "This is also simple, I'll just release a ninjutsu." Ninjutsu. Kushina and the others all looked at Chen and blinked their eyes, not knowing what Chen meant. Chen Dao, I can use the updraft to create cumulonimbus clouds, and use chakra to attach to the clouds, create a ninjutsu, and attach my chakra to the clouds and rain, so that whenever it rains, Rain is like my eyes, monitoring every move of the country of Rain for me. After Chen finished speaking, Kushina, Makoto, Konan and others all lit up. Others were moved by it. That's right, the ninjutsu mentioned by Chen is exactly the Yuhu Jujutsu in the original book, and it is also the ninjutsu used by Tenshin Dao Pain to monitor the country of Rain. Yi-chan's strength can do better. Chen said what he said and did it, hand seal with both hands, only to see a super strong chakra spreading from Chen's body. This is his unique yang chakra. This chakra is in Chen's body, and the huge chakra rises into the sky, and there is no wind around it. Terrible. As Chen Yongdun's power became stronger and stronger, and his understanding of Yin Yongdun became more and more profound, Chen could feel that he was getting closer and closer to Rinnegan. Nagato was shocked. He originally thought that after awakening Rinnegan, the gap between him and Chen narrowed, and he might even hope to become Chen's opponent. Now it seems that Chen's trump card is quite a lot, and it is Yongdun, which makes Chen as terrifying as Senju Hashirama's resilience, and as powerful as the body of a fairy. Under such circumstances, Rinnegan may not be Chen's opponent. Besides, this Rinnegan is not from Nagato, so Nagato cannot use the power of Rinnegan. Chen smiled faintly, his chara surging, rapidly spreading around, and at the same time the clouds approached and gathered in the sky above Chen's head. Chen has used Kirin's ninjutsu before, so he has a strong control over the clouds, especially his current strength is so terrifying, he is even more able to capture it. A cloud of dark clouds spreading out over the city, and these dark clouds seem to bow down to Chen, completely obeying Chen's control. Under such circumstances, Chen is really like a god who descends to the earth, even the weather and dark clouds can be master. All the movements within this radius of 10 miles are within Chen's expectations. With just one thought, Chen can pass Rain senses the opponent's chakra and reacts at any time. This Rain Tiger Freedom technique is a super wide-ranging reconnaissance ninjutsu. Chen Yuyang is in the body, which is much stronger than the Nagato chakra in the original book, so the scope of this technique is wider and the duration is longer. Only to see these dark clouds overlapping and continuous, this method is really too amazing, and everyone is dumbfounded for a while. Those Omegakers who had been given the sealing technique saw it, and they were even more shocked. They looked at Chen with a terrifying look, and they were amazed to the extreme. To be able to do this with human power, the legend of the stars in front of him is really terrifying. Is he still human? Chen gave a low drink, and a chakra poured into the clouds, and saw that it started to rain in the sky. The raindrops fell on each ninja, so that Chen could clearly perceive the chakra and the status of these ninjas, and clearly know the general strength of these ninjas. Rain keeps falling, everything is in the master. Chen is very clear that with this Rain Tiger Free technique, the country of rain belongs to him completely, which is equivalent to Chen's own independent kingdom. From today, the land of rain belongs to Akatsuki. You all go into action and obey my orders. Chen said lightly, and his tone became cold. Anyone who wants to spy on the information of the rain country, kill them. Chen's tone made everyone's heart move, and they felt that Chen's majesty had become stronger and stronger, especially Sasori, Zhao, Du and others, who dared not look directly into Chen's eyes, and nodded honestly, yes. After assigning everyone's tasks, Chen knew that Hanzo's death would not be hidden for long, and Chen didn't plan to hide Hanzo's death, as long as he didn't reveal his identity. Chen took the girls to the high tower where Hanzo lived before, and asked him to count everything and rearrange it. From then on, this place will belong to him. The Kingdom of Rain officially became Chen's possession, which made Chen's heart excited. From now on, this is our home. Chen smiled and looked at Konan, Kushina and Makoto. When facing the three girls, Chen always behaved very softly. Konan, Makoto, and Kushina also nodded slightly, and there was a flash of happiness in their eyes. They felt especially safe when they were with Chen. Such a powerful strength deterred everyone in the land of rain, killed Hanzo, and killed the rain. The country is a brand new base made the three daughters feel at ease. Chen Yi smiled, gently grabbed the hands of the three of them, and said, I plan to go out these days, and everything in the land of rain is under my control, so don't worry. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 407 Spy on Eternal Life. Open black lens bracket. Ask for everything close black lens bracket. Chen Yi smiled, gently grabbed the hands of the three of them, and said, I plan to go out these days, and everything in the land of rain is under my control, so don't worry. Well. Makoto and Kushina looked at each other, not expecting Chen to go out again, couldn't help but feel a little strange, but didn't say much, just nodded obediently. Chen smiled, of course he had a reason for going out this time. Chen plans to go to Orochimaru. Orochimaru betrayed the village, and now there is a secret base in Otogakur village, the land of the land. Chen plans to meet Orochimaru. Chen is of course not interested in Orochimaru himself, the only thing he is interested in is Orochimaru's forbidden techniques, such as reincarnation. Forbidden technique of not reincarnating has been successfully studied by Orochimaru, and I am very curious about this. I have to say that Orochimaru is a genius, and even Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara, etc. have not studied the ninjutsu. Fortunately, this ninjutsu is in the hands of Orochimaru. If it is in the hands of Uchiha Madara, it will be a disaster for the ninja world. Chen has always been very interested in the ninjutsu of reincarnation from the dead, but Chen does not plan to learn this ninjutsu. There is no other reason. This ninjutsu is too disgusting, and it needs to be constantly replaced, the body. But not reincarnated is a valuable reference. Since it is possible to obtain immortal life by changing the body, there must be other ways. So the ninjutsu of not reincarnating is very meaningful for research. Chen plans to use it to study it, and then see if he can develop a technique that suits his own unique immortality. Yes, Chen's idea is to spy on the secret of immortality and make plans for himself in the future. So anyway, it is necessary to meet Orochimaru. After seeing Orochimaru this time, I am afraid that it will soon be the Kyuubi, Nine-Tails attack on the village in the original book. Chen has already noticed a lot of Obito's small actions in the dark. After Chen and the three girls talked, the three girls of course, there is no objection to Chen's decision, and they all obey Chen's words. Just go out and leave everything in Akatsuki to us. Kushina smiled cheerfully, holding Chen's arm and said. Chen suddenly smiled and almost forgot about Chili Pepper. Kushina is a strong woman, enough to be on her own. Now Kushina's strength is also on the map. And Conan and the others, almost all of them are more than quasi-shadow. Satatsuki is also very relieved about Akatsuki. Well, that's fine. Chen smiled slightly and nodded lightly. Akatsuki can now operate autonomously, and Tatsu doesn't need to worry too much. I'll take half a month at most. Chen chuckled in a low voice and instructed the three women a few words, and then said this. Well, go, bad guy. Makoto also smiled. After seeing Chen's extraordinary strength, the three girls did not think that Chen would have safety problems, and they were no longer worried about Chen, they were all relieved. Finally got the matter of the country of rain. Chen was in a bad mood, left the country of rain and went to the country of fields. The country of Tien and the country of rain are very far apart. Small country. And the land of fields is even smaller than the land of rain. Under such circumstances, Chen quickly approached the country of Tien, and it didn't take long for him to sneak into it. Chen is just strolling in the courtyard, the trail of snake pill. This guy Orochimaru is also cunning, and cunning. He always leaves a way out for himself, and Chen is also very aware of this characteristic of him. However, this time Chen was not trying to deal with Orochimaru, but simply looking for the secret of the technique of reincarnation, so he was not in a hurry. Chen's chakra slowly opened, sensing the chakra movement up and down the country of Tien, and wanted to find the trace of Orochimaru. This guy Orochimaru usually set up the laboratory underground, so Chen also looked for it very clearly. After about half a day, he finally got something. Orochimaru, hiding so deep. Chen's mouth twitched. Orochimaru is really dark enough to hide in a deep cave. Chen found the location of Orochimaru, and gradually walked into the cave, looking around. If it was an ordinary person, he would definitely not dare to break into Orochimaru's territory at will. After all, Orochimaru has so many strange places, and his methods can be said to be endless. Although Orochimaru's strength is not the strongest, it is extremely difficult to deal with. However, Chen is a bold artist, so it doesn't matter. Entering the cave, it is dark all around. But Chen regarded it as nothing. The pair of Sharingan showed, and the luster of Yuhi was extraordinarily enchanting. Walking in the cave, Chen looked calm. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly appeared in the dark cave, like the metallic color of kunai, and suddenly attacked Chen. Someone attacked. Chen reacted very quickly. He did not escape, he just flew up one kick, like lightning popped out, and kicked the person away. Although Chen was not good at taijutsu, his strength has reached this level, and taijutsu is far superior to ordinary ninjas. The man received Chen's heavy blow, spit out a mouthful of blood, and fell heavily on the stone wall, making a crashing sound. You Sharingan, who are you? How do you know Orochimaru-sama's secret base? The man screamed in horror, and only then did he notice Chen's Sharingan, and he couldn't help saying in horror. Sharingan, this is what Mr. Orochimaru wants to get the most. What is the identity of this person in front of him? Characters. Exclamation mark. Orochimaru's deputy, and even surpassed Orochimaru's character in the later stage of the plot. At this time, he was still very young, probably only in his teens, and looked a little immature. But what makes Chen puzzled is that it is not a spy who is connected with Sasori. It seems that his appearance has changed part of the plot, but it still makes him and Orochimaru come together. Vomited blood. I have to catch a train to another place for Chinese New Year today. I can't afford to take the 8-hour 88 train. I can't afford to hurt. I cry. I have scheduled the chapters in advance to ensure that they will be updated. For comfort, woo woo woo, T. 408 Yakushi Kabuto who scared P. Open black lens bracket. Ask for full order close black lens bracket. Quote. Chen said lightly, looking at the young man with glasses in front of him. This man was full of silver hair and wearing glasses, looking at Chen in horror, unable to hide the shock in his eyes. You, who are you? How do you know my name? Looking at this young man who is too young, but his strength is extremely terrifying, I feel a little scared in my heart. At this time, he was only 10 years old, and the Third Ninja World War ended. He should have followed Orochimaru by chance in an orphanage. He worshipped Orochimaru so much that he was being trained as Orochimaru's deputy at this time. 10-year-old's strength is not bad, at least under the training of Orochimaru. He is considered strong among his peers, but he is too weak in front of Chen, almost vulnerable to a single blow. Looked at Chen with horror in his eyes, guessing Chen's identity in his heart, and suddenly thought of a possibility, but subconsciously denied it. The person in front of him looks too young, although there is Sharingan, but it should not be legendary, not bad. Chen looked up and down, and when he saw that he could barely raise a trace of courage in front of Chen at this time, he nodded slowly. Although his current strength is not that great, his courage is still good. Kabuto looked at Chen, the panic in his eyes still did not dissipate. Chen glanced at him and said, "Where is Orochimaru?" I don't know. I won't tell you where Orochimaru-sama is when I die. Loudly. Expression was very firm. He was the time when he admired Orochimaru the most, and he was very loyal, so Orochimaru was also very at ease with him. He knew many secrets of Orochimaru. Chen smiled slightly. Young man, don't talk too early, you will tell me. HMPH, pretending to be a ghost, this pair of Sharingan, who are you? Kiba's teeth were shaking a little, but he still mustered up the courage to shout loudly and spoke coldly. Chen shook his head gently. Are the little devils so arrogant now? Even Orochimaru would not dare to speak to me in such a tone. He should be punished. Word, Jing, was uttered. I saw Chen's fingers move lightly, a little bit of space, and there was no contact at all, but his expression changed, and he felt a huge force strike out of thin air, like a mountain-like force. The strong pressure instantly made him feel like a heavy burden, and he fell to his knees. Wow! He spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was pale, and seeing Chen's expression was like a ghost. He was severely injured and was extremely shocked. The person in front of him clearly didn't even touch him. Just a little volley in the air caused him to suffer such a huge injury. Everywhere on his body and his limbs, Mukuro seemed to be restrained. In front of him, he couldn't move at all. At this moment, he was completely frightened. What the hell is going on? Who is this young man to be so strong, so strange, so unfathomable? What I don't know is that the fountain also has the ability to manipulate gravity. Gravity is invisible, and it is extremely terrifying. Anyone can be caught off guard, and it is not easy to deal with him. And in his tone, even the Orochimaru-sama didn't dare to be arrogant to him. Could it be that he is really the one in the legend? Yes, I'm Uchiha Chen. Chen looked at it, as if seeing through his mind, said lightly. What is impossible? Subconscious denial. If it is really Uchiha Chen, how can he be so young? He doesn't seem to be much older than him. No, it seems to be the same. Uchiha Chen was famous in the ninja world when he was young, and now he is in his 20s and so young. The man is really the legend of the legendary stars. The shock is so amazing that he forgot the pain in his body and wound for a while, and was completely immersed in shock. I actually saw this legendary figure whose face was still a bit frightened even when Orochimaru-sama mentioned it. Chen smiled. Lead the way, take me to Orochimaru. No, I won't take you to meet Orochimaru-sama, I won't let you succeed. Resisted fiercely. The person in front of him was actually Uchiha Chen, and he couldn't let Uchiha Chen see Orochimaru. After all, Uchiha Chen and Orochimaru-sama had a holiday, and based on the strength of the two, Orochimaru-sama was against each other. He would also sigh to himself. "You will," Chen said softly and firmly. Only seeing the Sharingan in Chen's eyes turning frantically, a chakra surged out, and in an instant, he fell into a semi-hypnotic state. Sharingan's hypnotic ability is self-evident. Chen's current pupil strength, let alone just one, even if QB 9 Tails comes, he will be hypnotized. And Chen Duo is in a semi-hypnotic state, which is even more terrifying in this state. His mind is still clear, but his consciousness unconsciously follows Chen's actions. "Take me to Orochimaru," Chen lightly commanded. "Yes." Although his consciousness still remained a little sober, his body moved involuntarily, leading the way for Chen. A cold sweat broke out in fright. In this state, Chen could do whatever he wanted. Even if he committed suicide, he could only be obedient. "Just give in. I was just scared to pee." Two simple means, but they showed Chen's unparalleled super strength. This terrifying strength made everyone in an extreme shock, completely frightened. He led the way in front, while Chen followed and walked step by step to the depths of the secret base of the cave. Chen felt a little relieved, and he was also a character in the later stage of the plot, but in front of Chen, he could only be toyed with and applauded. "Not easy for the third time. I should still be on the train now. This is the regular time." 409 I can forgive you. Open black lens bracket please reward close black lens bracket. In the dark and cold cave, his body moves involuntarily, leading the way for Chen. At this time, he was completely shocked. Chen made a little trick, so he was powerless to resist. This terrifying strength was completely beyond the scope of cognition. The Legend of the Stars, the Legend of the Stars, it really deserves to be a legendary character. It's terrible. His heart was constantly sighing, and the expression on his face was also horrified. In such a situation, Chen controls the body. Soon, he took Chen to a secret passage in the cave, and then walked down from the secret passage. There was nothing like a cave. Chen looked around and nodded secretly. Orochimaru's layout is indeed very cunning. There are forks everywhere, leading in all directions, just like a fan of Gong Yi, which is really Orochimaru's character. That guy, Orochimaru, is really good enough. Chen followed behind, and gradually went deep into the underground, to the underground base. I only saw that there are many passages here, and there are many rooms around. I could hear cries and other shrill voices. Chen frowned. Orochimaru seems to be still there. Human experimentation. For a scientific madman like Orochimaru, it cannot be explained by common sense at all. In a sense, Orochimaru, who will do anything to pursue ninjutsu, is indeed a lunatic. When he almost reached the basement, he took Chen to a large laboratory. Here, there are huge bottles and jars everywhere, and these bottles and jars are also filled with various liquids, and there are even some corpses of living people in them. These corpses are placed in bottles and jars and are specially stored. Get up, completely sealed. Chen looked around for a while, and felt a familiar chakra. This chakra is very familiar to him, and he knows who it is when he moves in his heart. Orochimaru, Chen said in a low voice. Orochimaru, don't hide, I know you are here, come out. Heart was shocked, and he was extremely astonished. He didn't know how Chen felt it, and it really couldn't be guessed. At this time, I only saw small gray snakes appearing on the ground. These small snakes crawled out, appeared around the corner of the wall, and crawled around. Chen frowned slightly. For these cold-blooded reptiles, Chen has always been very cold. With these little snakes crawling out, only to see the little snakes spit out, and then they saw a person crawling out of the snake's mouth and appeared in the air. Long hair, amber eyes, and extremely pale skin. It is Orochimaru, Uchiha Tatsu. Orochimaru's voice was hoarse, and he looked at the person in front of him in a complicated way, and a strange feeling filled his heart. It's me, Orochimaru, do and come. Chen said lightly. Orochimaru looked at Chen, each other. I can't think of a year or two. No, your breath and chakra are so much stronger than before, it's really scary, your growth is so amazing. Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth subconsciously and looked at Chen's eyes. There is a bit of a difference in the light. Orochimaru is very obsessed with Chen's pair of Sharingan. You are not bad, you have learned so much forbidden technique. Chen said softly. Still admires Orochimaru very much. Orochimaru has learned many forbidden techniques in a short period of time. It's really not easy to be a science madman. Chen took a look at this time and untied the bondage. Relief, he slumped down on the ground, sweat dripping from his body, his face was pale, and he looked extremely weak. Then lest Orochimaru misunderstood, he explained to Orochimaru, Master Orochimaru, I didn't betray you, it was just him. Confuse me. I know. Orochimaru said in a low voice and looked at it. Uchiha-chan's means are not something you can compete with. The man in front of me, I saw with my own eyes that he fought the first Hokage and the second Hokage at the same time, and he still had the upper hand, even me you can only be amazed. Was shocked, and when he heard Orochimaru say this, he felt even more awe in his heart, and only felt that the image of Chen in his heart was even taller and unfathomable. Especially when he heard that Orochimaru, Sama, whom he admired so much, actually admitted that he was not as good as the Uchiha Chen in front of him, it was even more shocking. Even Lord Orochimaru was not as good as Taishan looking at Orochimaru and couldn't help laughing. Orochimaru, you are being honest. HMPH, your pair of Sharingan, and the talent that others can't match, really make me envious. I have nothing to admit. Orochimaru whispered. Chen smiled without saying a word. Orochimaru was apparently killed by him last time, but he actually hid. After that time, Orochimaru's use of impure world reincarnation was also tracked down by the people of the village, and it was discovered that Orochimaru used living people for human experiments, which led to Orochimaru's betrayal of the village. Due to the existence of Chen, Orochimaru's betrayal village may be several years earlier than in the original. Uchiha-chan, I don't know why you are here this time. Orochimaru said lowly. Chen smiled brightly and spit out two words, kill you. Orochimaru's expression changed and he stepped back. But also frightened, backed up on alert, and took out Kunwu to prepare for battle. But as soon as he took out Kuwu, he put it down with a wry smile, because he found that this strength was of no use to the man who was known as the Legend of the Stars, and Chen didn't even look at him. In a good mood when he saw Orochimaru and the enemy, and he didn't mean to play Orochimaru. Although Chen didn't like Orochimaru, Orochimaru was much cuter than Danzo. Chen looked at Orochimaru and said, actually, I have another purpose, to hand over the technique of immortality, and I can spare you immortality. 410 Orochimaru's Art of Yagi. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. The Art of Reincarnation. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes, subconsciously licking the corner of his mouth. His eyes were full of hostility, and he stared at Chen with the same coldness. Not reincarnating is also the biggest secret of Orochimaru, and it is also the strongest forbidden technique that he spent all his efforts on researching. Through this forbidden technique, you can get immortality. This is where Orochimaru is the strongest. Immortal life. Just ask, even if they are stronger than Uchiha Madara or Senju Hashirama, although they stand on the top of the ninja, they do not have eternal life, and they will disappear into the long river of history. But only he, Orochimaru, can obtain eternal life. In this infinite life, he can learn countless ninjutsu, and one day he will approach or even surpass Senju Hashirama, Uchiha Madara. Equally important presence. Orochimaru is of course unwilling to give Chen if it is not the art of reincarnation. Why do you want to resist? Chen looked at Orochimaru lightly. If you don't want to give it, I can only grab it. How could Orochimaru be willing to hand over the art of immortality to Chen? This is his greatest effort, and it is also his greatest support. Although Chen is terrifying, Orochimaru thinks that he has reincarnation and many other means, and he will never die, but he is not afraid. Immediately, Orochimaru turned his eyes and thought about giving it a shot. Happens, Orochimaru also wants to try the current Tatsu. What level has he reached? Orochimaru's eyes were gloomy and watery. Uchiha-chan, don't deceive people too much. I just bullied you, so what? Chen looked playful and lazy. Orochimaru's expression changed suddenly. He bit Kiba, and seemed to decide to take a shot with all his strength. He slammed hand seal and gave a low drink, and an evil chakra spread out. This chakra surging like a tide, and with an evil power, makes the surrounding air become very oppressive, especially terrifying. And when Chen saw this force constantly emerging, a trace of strangeness appeared in his heart. Familiar with Orochimaru's expression changed. This is the one of Orochimaru-sama. Ninjutsu, the strongest secret art. Immediately recognized that this was Orochimaru's strongest technique, but Orochimaru actually planned to use this ninjutsu to deal with Chen. It seemed that he was forced to a desperate situation, which was enough to prove that Uchiha Chen is terrible. I only saw Orochimaru's the body launched a very strong force, and an evil chakra gushed out like a tide, and the powerful force was overwhelming and swept out. Orochimaru's body changed drastically, and he used himself as a medium to turn into a white phosphorus serpent. The Jutsu of Yaki. Tatsu immediately recognized this ninjutsu, which is said to be one of Orochimaru's strongest ninjutsu, the Jutsu of Yaki. In the original book, Orochimaru also used magic to deal with Uchiha Itachi, and was ruthlessly crushed by Itachi, but at that time, it was because Orochimaru's body was at its weakest, and he was barely struggling. But now it is completely different. The current Orochimaru is in its heyday. With white scales the size of the mouth of a bull, these snakes roared and hissed, rushing towards Chen constantly. The Orochi is a ferocious beast in myths and legends. It has 8 heads and 8 heads. It is very scary and has the power to destroy the sky and destroy the earth. And the ninjutsu of Orochimaru dared to name it the Jutsu of Yaki, which shows that he also has enough confidence to recognize the power of this ninjutsu. In fact, this is indeed the case. I only saw that the entire cave and basement were pierced by the Orochi. The Orochi was nearly 100 meters high, and its 8 8-headed heads were extremely fierce. It moved its body, causing the surrounding stones to fall continuously. The stones fell and shattered, making a loud noise. Orochimaru is cruel by nature and has unparalleled ferocity. It rushes towards Chen. The air around it seems to be frozen. Orochimaru's 8-hearted technique is indeed unique. Cut off, it will not die immediately. It is very difficult to deal with. But Chen has the best way to deal with it. Orochimaru, you've grown a lot better than before, but it's a pity that your eyesight is as bad as before. Some people, you can't afford to offend. Chen said softly. Immediately afterwards, Tatsu's Sharingan suddenly changed, and the pattern changed into the shape of the eternal Mangekyo. Amaterasu. Chen faintly spit out 2 words. The white Amaterasu fire spreads out, and the combination of Yongdun and the black Amaterasu is already perfect. Only in an instant, the Amaterasu fire spreads to the whole body of the Orochi. Amaterasu. Orochi screamed, issued bursts of miserable screams, and the pain was constantly rolling on the spot. But no matter what, the fire of Amaterasu could not be extinguished. The Orochi was bleeding from the whole body, and the Orochi kept rolling on the spot, causing the stones to fall continuously, and the cave began to shake, as if it were about to collapse. Master Orochimaru. Screaming in surprise, Orochimaru will probably be burned by Amaterasu if it goes on like this. Fortunately, Orochimaru also has a way to deal with Amaterasu. I only saw that on the body of the Orochi, white snakes began to split continuously, and these white snakes avoided Amaterasu by splitting. And Orochimaru's body is hidden in one of the white snakes. Chen looked in his eyes and shook his head lightly. This guy Orochimaru is really a cunning rabbit, and he is Uchiha Madara level when it comes to saving his life. Orochimaru. Chen sneered, and Mangekyo's gravity control showed, directly imprisoning the small white snake in Orochimaru's body, and grabbed Orochimaru. Orochimaru was helpless now, his body gradually showed its original shape. Gasping for breath, his body was covered in sweat, obviously extremely weak. Orochimaru, my patience is limited. Say it again, hand over the art of immortality, and I can spare you immortality. Chen said lightly. 411 Killing you is like searching for something. Open black lens bracket, please subscribe for reward close black lens bracket. Orochimaru was already in its original shape at this time. In front of Chen, he gasped for breath, and his body was covered in sweat. The 8-kid technique and split technique just now consumed a lot of his chakra. Even Orochimaru was at this moment. Some are unsustainable. Master Orochimaru. Hurry, he rushed forward, grabbed Orochimaru's arm, and helped Orochimaru to stand up. Orochimaru looked at Chen with extremely gloomy eyes. A bit of anger flashed in his eyes, but there was nothing he could do. Orochimaru also had to admit that he had been completely suppressed by Chen and could not resist Chen's power at all. Terrifying. Chen's strength is fully revealed. Just using an Amaterasu, he forced Orochimaru to break the technique of the 8 Tokus, and Orochimaru's strength is far inferior to Chen. Orochimaru's expression changed constantly, as if hesitating whether he should hand over the undead reincarnation. Orochimaru was really unwilling to hand over the reincarnation like this, but he was a little lucky. Although he was definitely not Chen's opponent, he might be able to use suspended animation to escape like he did with Chen last time. Orochimaru's eyes flickered, thinking about how to deal with Chen. Chen smiled coldly, but kept supporting Orochimaru. At this time, the 6 gods had no masters. After seeing Chen's terrifying ability, he couldn't bring up the slightest idea of dealing with Chen. There was only one voice echoing in his heart. No wonder Orochimaru the adults dream of Sharingan so much. The legendary man in front of me is really too scary. He is beyond the category of ninjas. Orochimaru, you seem reluctant to hand over the reincarnation. My patience is limited, you are the best. Hurry up, otherwise I will do it again later, but it will not be as simple as handing over the reincarnation. Chen said lightly. At this time, Orochimaru was also at war between heaven and man, and he didn't know what to do. After thinking for a long time, Orochimaru sighed and finally said, whether I hand over the art of immortality, you can let me go. You are not qualified to negotiate terms with me now, but I can consider it. Chen said lightly. Orochimaru's expression changed, and a trace of anger appeared in his eyes again, but in the end he did not speak, but endured. He knew that now he had to obey Chen's orders completely. Chen still hesitated when he saw Orochimaru, and said, Orochimaru, you don't seem to have seen the situation clearly now. Do you think you can escape from my palm? Do you still want to escape by suspended animation? I tell you, the same trick, it can't be used a second time for me. No matter what. Wherever you escape, I can find out your situation, no matter what. Whether you use the curse seal or other ways to save your life, you can't escape my palm. Chen said lightly. Orochimaru's expression changed drastically. Orochimaru didn't expect Chen to know so much about him. He even knew about curses. And more importantly, Orochimaru really wanted to use suspended animation to get away just now, but Chen saw through it and threatened him. Besides, Orochimaru is also a god, and he once again realized the terribleness of the moment before him. How does he? Knowing that Orochimaru-sama has researched the curse mark, Orochimaru can be sure in such a situation, and he does not dare to risk what Chen will do to him. Orochimaru sighed softly and stared at Chen. It's so calculated, so powerful, Uchiha Chen. It seems that every step is in your master. I am very curious about what you plan to do. You don't need to worry about this, just contribute the technique of immortality. Chen intends to use the technique of immortality to comprehend and spy on the secret of immortality, which is also the most important part of Chen's plan. With eternal life and strong power, Chen can truly stand on the top of the Hokage world. For this, Chen is still very confident. Orochimaru's expression was still struggling, but Chen didn't speak. He waited patiently. He believed that Orochimaru was a person who was aware of current affairs. Orochimaru takes his own life very seriously. Such a cautious person will definitely not take risks and will definitely obey his orders. Orochimaru's face flashed blue and white, and finally, he seemed to have made some kind of important decision. Only when Orochimaru opened his mouth and stuck out his long tongue, a scroll appeared in his palm. Orochimaru actually hid the ninja scroll in his belly. Chen frowned. This disgusting guy. Orochimaru took out the scroll. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly, looked at it for a while with pain, and then gave it to you. Chen took the scroll, opened it and glanced at it briefly. His eyes lit up. With Chen's current strength and level of ninjutsu, Orochimaru would never be able to deceive him. This is indeed the true undead reincarnation technique. With the undead reincarnation technique in hand, Chen felt extremely relieved, glanced at Orochimaru, and said indifferently. Very well, Orochimaru, you made the right decision. Otherwise, if you really want to use your hands, I will kill you, like searching for something. Killing you is like trying to find something. Chen's words were filled with endless pride and contempt, which shocked Orochimaru in his heart, and involuntarily took a step back. His eyes were full of horror. What kind of confidence and arrogance is this? Orochimaru is a bit bitter. He knows that he is by no means the opponent of the current Chen. The gap between the two is really too big. Sharingan, maybe if I have Sharingan too. Orochimaru's eyes flickered, and the thirst for Sharingan in his heart was extremely strong, and he desperately wanted to get Sharingan, and this desire kept growing in his heart. It was completely stunned, for Chen's words were really too amazing, so at this time he was still in a state of stupefaction. The art of reincarnation is in hand, let's go. Tatsu's figure disappeared in an instant, disappearing in front of Orochimaru Kazuo. Orochimaru was silent for a while, watching Chen's voice disappearing in place. The corners of his mouth twitched even more. He squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying, and murmured, "Just take away the results of my research for several years, it's so bullying." Orochimaru was crying in his heart. Kiki, 3 shift. 412 From then on, you can have eternal life. Open black lens bracket for automatic, please subscribe close black lens bracket. Chen got the scroll of the art of immortality, and left the country of Tien. For the present Chen, no matter what, Orochimaru or both are useful, so Tatsuya didn't embarrass the two of them, and left after obtaining the scroll of the art of immortality. But Chen didn't know how much shadow he brought to Orochimaru. If there is a psychological shadow area in this world, then look at the actions of Orochimaru and his subsequent actions. After leaving Chen-Qian, Orochimaru and he did not stop for a moment, directly abandoned the underground base, and quickly moved to the land of Tianji. Elsewhere, this nightmarish place, I really don't want to stay any longer. Although Orochimaru knew that it was useless to hide, he moved away from the base in order to seek psychological comfort and comfort. At the same time, he started to set up his own bases in various places in the land of the field, and he was often uncertain, and he could not even know exactly where he was. Whereabouts? Seen how much shadow Orochimaru has in his heart. But Chen Kai didn't know at all, and he didn't care at all. Reincarnation, Chen quickly returned to the land of rain. In fact, when he was fighting with Orochimaru, Chen sensed that many ninjas had sneaked into the country of rain. There were ninjas from all over the world. Almost all the 5 countries gathered together. They were spies sent by the major countries to the country of rain to inquire about information. Chen didn't care about it at all. This is also a normal phenomenon. There is no way to hide such a big thing as Hanzo's death. All countries must already know the news, but it is not clear who killed Hanzo and what happened to Akatsuki. Under such circumstances, Chen's actions were carried out with ease. The death of Hanzo was never intended to be concealed, as long as the other major powers did not guess that the person behind this was Chen. Chen entered the country of rain. It was still raining in the sky, and the use of the rain tiger-free technique enabled Chen to detect every inch of the land in the country of rain. A few little mice broke in. Chen's eyes narrowed slightly, and with a slight movement in his heart, he sensed several different chakras. The strength of these interlopers is not bad. From the perspective of chakra attributes, they should be the ninjas of the three kingdoms of Thunder, Earth, and Sunagakur. Chen smiled and went directly back to the tower of the Kingdom of Rain. Standing on the high tower, the news of Chen's return made Sasori, Kokaku, and others take it seriously and came to see Chen. Chen, on the other hand, told Zhao the news of the intrusion of ninjas from other countries. To Sasori and others, let them deal with this matter. The Kingdom of Rain is now entirely Chen's private territory, and there is no room for others to sleep on the side of the couch. Kokaku, Do and Sasori acted one after another, and took out these snooping ninjas. The ninja spies sent by the major countries to the country of rain were all silent, which made all countries panic, and soon, the countries sent ninja spies to the country of rain again. Surprised them even more came, the ninja they sent out went back and forth again, and there was no news at all. Regardless of it's how many people they sent, and even the outstanding players. Also all the same result. Major countries shook one after another, and they were jealous of the country of rain. From then on, they dared not send ninja spies to the country of rain easily, and the country of rain became a mysterious symbol. And Chen also temporarily closed the country of rain, which completely became his private back garden. Has also become an unfathomable existence in the hearts of major countries. Brother Chen, what are you doing this time? When Chen returned to the land of rain, the happiest ones were of course Conan's three daughters. They were all curious, especially Conan blinked and asked Chen, holding Chen's arm and didn't want to let go. Chen smiled. This time, I'm looking for something. Find something. Conan was even more curious, blinking his watery eyes. Chen smiled, hugged Conan's waist, and said with a smile, well, I found a treasure. Treasure. This time, not only Conan, but also Kushina and Makoto looked at Shang Chen, puzzled, and they all looked at him in astonishment. Chen smiled and said, well, this time I went out and gained a lot. I found a ninjutsu scroll about the secret of immortality. As soon as these words were uttered, everyone was stunned and looked at Chen, only to say that the information in Chen's words was really surprising. He actually found a secret scroll about immortality. Chen smiled. From today onwards, I will retreat and start to study everything on this scroll. I will temporarily hand over the affairs of Akatsuki to Nagato, and the three of you will supervise them. If there is any situation, you can report it to me at any time. Studying the mystery of the undead reincarnation technique is not a matter of 1 or 2 days, Chen said to the three daughters with a soft smile on the corner of his mouth. The three women nodded, and they also knew the seriousness of this matter. If Chen can get this ninjutsu scroll, he will really concentrate on research, and it is absolutely important. After all, this is the secret of immortality. For a long time, Chen was immersed in the study of ninjutsu scrolls. Chen, who obtained the art of immortality, was like a fish in water, and devoted himself to studying the profound meaning of ninjutsu. And Chen also gradually discovered the peculiarity of the technique of reincarnation without corpse. It is indeed the technique of reincarnation without corpse. Orochimaru has spent years researching the absolute trump card. This ninjutsu is indeed unique. Orochimaru is indeed a genius in research. He actually thought of developing this ninjutsu in such a way. Chen whispered to himself. After several months of research, Chen has already mastered the basic meaning of the technique of immortality. Only then did he understand the subtlety of Orochimaru's design of this technique, and he was slightly surprised. In terms of research and development of ninjutsu, Orochimaru's talent is indeed Uchiha Madara level. With the technique of immortality, I have the hope of immortality. In the future, not only myself, but also Kushina, Makoto, Conan and others can also learn this ninjutsu. Chen secretly said in his heart. For automatic, see the underlined version of the novel. 413 Obito, S. Bewitchment, The Eve of Fate. The essence of Orochimaru's technique of immortality is actually to take away other people's bodies, occupy other people's bodies to fight, and use other people's bodies as containers to continuously survive in the world. This method of immortality is very tricky, allowing Orochimaru to live forever in this way. And when Chen studied Orochimaru's immortality, he also benefited a lot. Under the study of immortality, Chen could feel that he was getting closer and closer to immortality. Unfortunately, I have to use this method to gain immortality, only my body is the best, but it is too difficult to obtain immortality in this way. My strength is still a little weaker, maybe wait when I get to 6 paths level, I can really understand. Chen said. With the technique of immortality in hand, Chen has a stronger perception of life and death, and believes that immortality is no longer far away from him. This time, Chen studied ninjutsu, and 3 months passed in a blink of an eye. Chen's understanding of life and death has increased a lot, and this time he has learned about the technique of reincarnation, so that Chen has a deeper understanding of life and death, and the escape of yin and yang. Chen's yin and yang strengths also tended to increase, and I believe that it will be a matter of time before Rinnegan starts growing at this level. Rinnegan. Chen whispered to himself, looking forward to his Rinnegan. The old man from 6 Paths said that Chen's Rinnegan would also be very special, so Chen was always curious. Rinnegan, Sage Art, I must be a master. If I turn on Rinnegan and I can master Sage Art, then my strength is enough to match Uchiha Madara, or even surpass him. Chen secretly said. Chen left the retreated room, stood on the tower of the Rain Country, overlooking the entire building of the Rain Country, and now had a strange feeling. The country of rain is now in the bag under his feet, and the future is under his feet. It was misty and rainy outside, and Chen's thoughts drifted into the distance. Looking at Konoha's direction, Chen faintly had a hunch in his heart. I'm afraid, it's getting closer and closer to the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, attack on the village. This means that Kyuubi, Nine Tails, is about to be born and Minato is about to die. Regardless of is Kyuubi, Nine Tails, or Minato, both are very important to Chen. After thinking about it, Chen has a promise with Kyuubi, Nine Tails. It's an eventful time. It seems that I'm going to go to Minato too. This guy Obito should be planning everywhere in the ninja world right now, it's really nerve-wracking. Chen sighed with emotion. Chen thought about it and called Conan. Conan quickly arrived in front of Chen, and when he saw Chen, his eyes lit up. Brother Chen. Conan, has Nagato's behavior been unusual recently? Chen asked in a low voice. Chen once gave Conan a task, which is to let Conan secretly monitor the situation of Nagato. Xiaoju is very suitable for monitoring other people's conditions, so Chen also sent Conan to monitor. Conan thought for a while, his eyes slightly, what's the matter? Chen said with concern. Conan whispered, During this time, I saw Nagato communicating with a mysterious person, but that mysterious person seems to be extraordinarily miraculous, and every time he approaches, he disappears out of thin air, and I'm not sure if that's the case. Obito's avatar disappearing out of thin air. Chen immediately confirmed that Nagato was still standing with Obito. This guy Obito's bewitching ability is also first class. In the original book, Nagato was completely bewitched by Obito, and finally attacked Konoha and implemented the Tail Beast capture plan. At present, Nagato is probably also being used by Obito and starts to get together with Obito. Nagato. Chen murmured Nagato's name in a low voice, with a bit of coldness. However, Nagato's actions were also within Chen's expectations. Presumably at this pace, Nagato might be out of Chen's control before long. Does Ent care anymore? Because Nagato is not Chen's chess piece. Chen now has one of the most important chess pieces, a trump card, that is Rin. Chen opened Rinnegan and treated him with the chakra of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, which he believed could be saved. When Rin is in hand, Obito will definitely obey Chen's orders. As for Uchiha Madara, Chen will not have to worry. Forget it, Nagato doesn't need to worry about him, let it be. Chen thought about it, the existence of Nagato has nothing to do with the overall situation anyway, and has no decisive influence on the current Chen, so Chen doesn't care. Yes. Got it. Conan said obediently. Well. Chen nodded lightly. Chen looked into the distance, in the direction of Konoha, dazed. Looking at Chen's actions, Conan was a little puzzled and asked in a low voice, "Brother Chen, are you missing Konoha?" Chen shook his head. What is there to miss about Konoha? There are only 2 people in Konoha that I miss. Tatsu is talking about Tsunade and Minato. The whole of Konoha, only the 2 of them can make Chen miss. Conan looked at Chen with some puzzlement, not knowing what Chen was thinking. She doesn't know about Namikaze Minato's imminent death, and she doesn't know what happened to Tatsu and Minato before. Kyuubi, Ninetales, attacked the village, Minato died, Naruto was born. Chen whispered, his eyes moved slightly, looking into the distance. This series of important events is finally coming. Minato is about to die, Tatsu squinted, ready to go to Konoha again. Conan, inform Kushina and Makoto that I have to go out again, this time I am going to Konoha. Chen whispered, with a certain determination in his voice. Yes, I see. Conan replied in a low voice. The rain falls, and the shape of Chen leaves. Blink of an eye, Chen has disappeared in place, disappeared. Konoha, cough, brothers, thanks for the watermelon. 414 Konoha village. Chen left the country of rain, walked through a large number of forests, and finally came to the village of Konoha. This time, Chen deliberately changed his clothes. Instead of wearing Akatsuki's flamboyant and conspicuous clothes, he changed into casual clothes, without a forehead guard. He looked like an ordinary person, and entered the Konoha village. Konoha village is currently the largest village among the 5 major countries, with the largest population, and its strength can be regarded as the top among the major countries. Such a Konoha is now beginning to recuperate after the end of the Third Ninja World War and is developing rapidly. Voices were full of people, walking on Konoha Street. It was extraordinarily lively. Chen, on the other hand, walked calmly on the streets of Konoha, as if he was completely integrated into it. Left and right, those ordinary people and ninjas turned a blind eye to Chen, and could not see at all. This is because of Chen's ninjutsu. The effect, restrained the breath. At this time, Chen looked like a normal person, with a very low sense of existence, making it difficult for people to find. Sure enough, it has become prosperous. There are so many shops. The corners of Chen's mouth twitched into a smile, and he whispered to himself. The village of Konoha has really become a lot more prosperous. Of a store and stopped abruptly. Without him, just because of the name of this store. Ichiraku Ramen. This is the #1 restaurant in the world, and it seems that it has been opened at the same time. Chen couldn't help feeling a little familiarity in his heart, then walked into the store and smiled. Boss, give me a bowl of ramen. Okay. Store is the familiar uncle in Hokage, and beside him is his daughter Ayame, who is cute and beautiful. Ayame glanced at Chen and was stunned for a moment, only to feel that the young man in front of him looked extraordinarily handsome, and there was an indescribable feeling that made Ayame's heart skip a few times. Chen seemed to notice Ayame's gaze, and chuckled at Ayame. Ayame only felt that his heart was beating faster. He lowered his head suddenly, did not dare to meet Chen's eyes, agreed in a panic, trotted over and started making ramen. Chen looked a little funny, but just waited quietly for the ramen to come. 10 minutes later, a steaming bowl of ramen was placed in front of Chen, who smiled kindly at Ayame. Thank you. Ah, you, welcome. Ayame spoke quickly, glanced at Chen secretly, lowered his head again, and whispered in a ghostly voice. I added a few pieces of meat. Quote. Chen couldn't help rubbing his nose, laughing dumbly. This is what Ayame said. Her face was Yuhi, and it was like running away. Chen looked at the ramen on the table, until it was full of pieces of meat on top, almost piled up into a hill, whereas the addition of several pieces of meat, if Ichiraku ramen doesn't last for a long time, it will go bankrupt. Chen mouth corners with a smile. He glanced at Ayame's back again. Ayame seemed to be aware of it, and his ears were completely Yuhi. As soon as I saw this Ichiraku ramen, Chen also had a great appetite, and immediately started eating, and in a blink of an eye, I ate half a bowl. Ichiraku ramen really lives up to its reputation. The soup is authentic and rich, the fragrance is overflowing, and the mouth is full of the taste of chan juice, which is particularly delicious. After eating half of it, Chen's heart moved slightly, as if he was aware of it. Without him, Chen felt the approach of two familiar chakras. Shikaku, Minato's baby will be born in a few days. A slightly rough voice came and asked with a smile. Yeah, time flies so fast. Haha, Choza, you have to work hard. Nara Shikaku said. Akamichi Choza and Nara Shikaku. They also came here to eat ramen, only to see Akamichi Choza and Nara Shikaku sitting down at a small stall on the side, and also ordered 2 ramen. Akamichi Choza smiled and said, Boss, I want the largest portion, first a bowl, in a while. Brilliant sound. Chen listened and smiled again. Akamichi Choza is still the same, nothing has changed, this foodie. Akamichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi have a very good relationship with Chen, especially Akamichi Choza, who is Chen's little follower back then, and is definitely a loyal supporter of Chen. HMPH, although I got married relatively late, I will have children soon, and it won't be slower than you. But speaking of which, Chen was the first among us to get married. Akamichi Choza stopped abruptly in the middle of speaking. Both Nara Shikaku and Akamichi Choza were silent for a while, and Nara Shikaku sighed slightly, as if reminiscing. Yeah, if Chen is still there. That's good, looking at the ninja world, who would dare to provoke us Konoha? It's all that Danzo, damn it, don't let me see him in the future. Akamichi Choza snorted angrily. There is no doubt that both Akamichi Choza and Nara Shikaku see Danzo as the biggest culprit in pushing Chen out, and Akamichi Choza in particular is very indignant. Chen's heart warmed when he heard it. These little friends from the past finally did not disappoint him. Well, until now, Lord Tsunade, she's sighing, let's not talk about it. This guy Chen is good at everything, but the relationship between women is too powerful. Nara Shikaku also sighed with emotion. Tsunade Chen's heart moved slightly, and his face finally changed a bit. Tsunade was still waiting for him, remembering what Tsunade said, I will always be there. Konoha is waiting for you. Tatsu's expression moved slightly. Chen put the money on the table, smiled at Ayame, and made a checkout gesture. Ayame's expression on Yuhi was incomparable. He hurriedly took the money. Chen chuckled lightly, then turned and left. He had already decided to go to Tsunade to have a look. When Chen left, Nara Shikaku glanced at Chen's back inadvertently, and was shocked, showing a hint of surprise, and froze in place. Nara Shikaku was about to get up to find Tatsu, but Tatsu disappeared into the crowd of people on the street. What's the matter, Shikaku? Akamichi Choza asked suspiciously. It's nothing, maybe I'm wrong. Nara Shikaku murmured. For automatic, for subscription, for reward. 415 reunites with Tsunade. Open black lens bracket for automatic, for full order close black lens bracket. It's nothing, maybe I'm wrong. Nara Shikaku murmured. Just that there is a strange feeling in Nara Shikaku's heart, and there is always some uneasy feeling. It be that Nara Shikaku was dazed and had some guesses for a while. Akamichi Choza glanced at Nara Shikaku strangely, not knowing what this guy was thinking. He simply ate Nara Shikaku's bowl of ramen, and muttered in his mouth, really, it's so delicious. Don't eat the ramen, just give it to me. Chen left the Ichiraku ramen and walked towards the Senju clan where Tsunade is located. Unlike the original plot, Tsunade did not leave the Konoha village, but lived in seclusion in the Senju clan, no longer asked anything about the Konoha, and was disheartened. When Chen arrived at the Senju clan's clan, he saw that the territory of the Senju clan's clan was extremely decayed, and it could be seen that everywhere was dilapidated, old facilities were placed, and there were empty houses. The current Senju clan, there are only some elderly people. Basically, the backbone of the Senju clan died in the war, and only Tsunade is left. It shows how miserable the Senju clan is. Chen walked in the Senju clan's clan, and felt a little emotional in his heart. The Uchiha family was not much better than the Senju, and even if it weren't for Chen, the future of the Uchiha clan would still be annihilation. In the Senju family, Chen quickly found the house where Tsunade was, and felt the familiar chakra. At this time, the weather was already in the evening, and it was gradually getting into the night. Chen shook his head, sighed softly, and walked into Tsunade's house. Tsunade's house is simple, elegant, and spotless. Chen glanced at it, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, revealing a little smile. At this time, Tsunade seemed to have fallen asleep, lying on the wooden slump with his eyes closed. Zhang's familiar face appeared in front of Chen. Tsunade. Light golden long hair, long eyelashes, and a delicate and perfect face, especially the figure that makes countless women envy. At this time, Tsunade had fallen into a light sleep. Chen did not disturb Tsunade, but just watched Tsunade quietly from the side. Tsunade rolled over, his eyelashes moved slightly, and gradually opened his eyes. Chen secretly thought that it was not good, and it seemed that he found out by himself, but it didn't matter if Tsunade found out, and Chen didn't move. Tsunade opened his eyes, who knew that the moment he arrived at Chen, there was no accident, but he turned the back of his head to Chen, and whispered to himself, "Why do you dream about him again? The bad guy." Chen was speechless. Tsunade regarded him as a dream, but in this way, Tsunade doesn't seem to be. Dreaming of him once or twice made Chen feel a tinge of Chen in his heart. He approached Tsunade and walked to Tsunade's side. Then Tsunade suddenly felt that something was wrong. He wanted to turn around, but was hugged by Chen and hugged him tightly. Holding Tsunade. Tsunade trembled all over, looked back in disbelief and saw Chen Dao. "It's really you." "Of course it's true, not a dream, fool." Chen hugged Tsunade and smiled. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then he lay directly in Chen's arms, Yuhi in his eyes, and pinched Chen hard. "Hey, why are you hitting me?" Chen roared. "Just hit you, hit you, hit you. I have to say, don't reason with women, because most of them have no reason to say." Tsunade's fists fell on Chen's body like raindrops. Tsunade's face became more and more Yuhi, and his eyes were full of sparkles. Tsunade, who has always been strong, actually showed such a side, so that Chen's heart also became warm, and he couldn't help but hold Tsunade tighter. During this time, I don't know how Tsunade got here. Tsunade looked at Chen faintly and said, "I only know now that you came to me, you really are." Chen clenched Tsunade's little hand and said, "It's my fault." Chen is very apologetic in his heart. This matter is indeed Chen's fault. "It's good that you know," Tsunade said softly, and gave Chen a white look with a hint of resentment. "You definitely didn't come to Konoha this time to find me, so tell me why." Tsunade roared. Chen looked at Tsunade, secretly thinking that a woman's intuition was really scary. Tsunade actually guessed that Chen was not here for her. Chen just said, "Someone has bad intentions, I just came to see." "Is it?" Tsunade didn't care much about this. She was also frustrated by the current Konoha. The Senju family lost so much in the war, and they didn't see any consolation from the top of Konoha, which made Tsunade gradually lose interest in Konoha. "You killed Hanzo, right?" Tsunade asked suddenly without thinking. Chen was startled, then smiled and admitted, "That's right. I know that there are not many people who can kill Hanzo in the ninja world, and you must be one of them." Tsunade spoke softly. Chen smiled. Tsunade still knew him as well as before. Previous typo. Naruto was born not on the day the protagonist went to Konoha, but a few days later. It has been modified. Watermelon, thank you for your support. 416 Shocking change. The night Naruto was born. Open black lens bracket. Ask for a reward. Ask for an automatic close black lens bracket. Chen and Tsunade meet again, but they are not at all familiar with each other. They are talking about things in recent years. Tsunade also told Chen what she was doing during this time. Tsunade adopted a disciple in the orphanage named Shizune. Shizune and her hit it off, and Tsunade accepted her as a disciple. This made Chen even more stunned. In the original book, Shizune was Kato Dan's niece, and that's why he was accepted as a disciple by Tsunade. But in this world, Kato Dan and Tsunade have nothing to do with each other, but Shizune still follows Tsunade because of this. Not to mention it was a coincidence. Told Tsunade what he had done in the Land of Rain, but he just kept things from Akatsuki. Only then did Tsunade know that the Kingdom of Rain has completely belonged to Chen, and now that Chen is the leader of a country, he couldn't help but be surprised. Your strength has really reached a whole new level now. I'm afraid none of the shadows in the ninja world are your opponents. Tsunade whispered. Chen smiled. Maybe. Chen's opponents are no longer the shadows of the major countries, but the characters of the future Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. Chen looked at the sky, only to see that it was already late at night. Couldn't help but ask. I heard that Namikaze Minato's wife Uzumaki Emi gave birth in these days. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, and then said, it seems so. I don't know the specifics. I don't really care about Konoha. To Namikaze Minato, Tsunade's expression softens a little bit. At first, only Tsunade and Namikaze Minato argued for Chen with all their strength, which made Tsunade have a good impression of Namikaze Minato. But you care what Namikaze Minato's wife does? Tsunade wonders. Chen smiled. I'm just worried that someone wants to take Kyuubi, Ninetales, at this time. You mean, Kyuubi, Ninetales, People Jinchuriki, Column Force. Tsunade reacted immediately. Looking at Chen, his eyes moved slightly. Well. Forget it. I'm already disheartened about the Konoha matter, and I don't want to be involved anymore. Just go. Tsunade said softly. I see. Chen nodded slightly. For the next 2 days, Chen lived here in Tsunade. At the same time, Chen also got the news that tomorrow night should be the day when Namikaze Minato's wife Uzumaki Emi gave birth. That is to say, tomorrow is the night of Naruto's birth. The beginning of everything, the beginning and end of everything, will finally begin. The Kyuubi, Ninetales, Demon Fox attack on the village is about to begin. Chen made all preparations, waiting for the arrival. Looking at the entrance of the village, his eyes gradually became quiet. At the same time, Tatsu's figure gradually disappeared, and went to the birthplace of Uzumaki Emi when she gave birth. Since Uzumaki Emi is the wife of Namikaze Minato, the wife of the village Hokage, and the Kyuubi, Ninetales, Jinchuriki, Column Force, her production has been photographed by many people. Minato was waiting anxiously outside the door, only to hear Uzumaki Emi's constant cries of pain in the delivery room. Namikaze Minato's always peaceful state of mind was not anxious. Wei Mei. Minato murmured something in a low voice outside the door, feeling even more in his heart. Is anxious. In the delivery room, Uzumaki Emi's cry became louder and louder, as if she was using all her strength, and soon, a baby's cry was heard. Wow wow wow. Namikaze Minato's whole body was shaken when the baby's cry came, and he immediately came to the spirit and broke into the delivery room. Naruto, I'm a father. Namikaze Minato said excitedly, because she was so excited that she even shed tears. Uzumaki Emi was covered in sweat at this time, lying in the delivery room with a gratifying smile on the corner of her mouth, also moved by Naruto's birth. Naruto was born. Namikaze Minato took Naruto in surprise, only to see the little orange hair of the child. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he was constantly crying. Sure enough, it was Uzumaki Naruto. Let mom take a look first. Sarutobi Hiruzen's wife, Lake Biwa, who helped Uzumaki Emi deliver the baby. She took the child from Namikaze Minato and reported the child to Uzumaki Emi. Uzumaki Emi looked at the child with great relief, and she also shed 2 lines of clear tears. The feeling of being a mother for the first time is very subtle. Naruto, I finally see you. Uzumaki Naruto kept crying, while Lake Biwa smiled. Okay, then relax. As he finished speaking, he carried Naruto out of the delivery room. Chen watched all this, and suddenly felt a faint chakra approaching slowly. This chakra was almost imperceptible, only Chen's current strength could barely perceive it. It seems that Obito is getting closer. Chen frowned slightly. Obito finally came. This time, Obito's purpose is to capture Kyuubi, Ninetales, and capture Kyuubi, Ninetales, while the Kyuubi, Ninetales, Jinchuriki column are at their weakest. When Uzumaki Emi gave birth, it was when Kyuubi, Ninetales, was at its weakest, and at this time it was easy for others to take advantage of it, and Konoha also paid attention to it. The newly born Uzumaki Naruto was carried away, while Minato slowly walked to Uzumaki Emi's side and said affectionately, Emi, thank you, thanks to you. Minato. Uzumaki Emi also looked at Namikaze Minato affectionately, and the two were looking at each other. After a while, Minato smiled and said, okay, now that the baby is over, I'll let the sealed Kyuubi, Ninetales, settle down. During production, when the seal is at its weakest, Kyuubi, Ninetales, is most likely to run wild, so Minato doesn't dare to be careless. Well. Uzumaki Emi replied softly. Namikaze Minato walked to Uzumaki Emi's body, put both hands on Uzumaki Emi's stomach, ready to start sealing. At this moment, a mutation suddenly occurred. Wow! I heard was a loud cry from Uzumaki Naruto, and at the same time Lake Biwa and her maid fell to the ground. Lake Biwa-sama, what's going on? Namikaze Minato looked ahead anxiously. In Black stood in front. Important plot, there are innovations, I will not follow the plot completely, everyone can rest assured. 417 Such a world, such a Konoha. Open black lens bracket, full order close black lens bracket. The man in black was wearing a mask, only showing one eye, and his voice was low, like the voice of Uchiha Madara. He hugged the newborn baby Naruto, looked at Minato coldly, and whispered, 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato, you immediately leave the side of Jinchuriki column force, otherwise, this child's lifespan is only 1 minute. Of course the man in black is Obito, who disguised as Uchiha Madara's voice, grabbed the newly born Naruto, and coldly threatened Namikaze Minato. It seems that Obito has completely blackened at this moment, his voice is indifferent, and he looks at Namikaze Minato coldly, completely forgetting the previous teacher-student friendship. Damn! Namikaze Minato clenched the Kiba pass, full of anger, but now he was under the roof and had to bow his head. What the hell is going on here? A barrier is clearly set up around this place, how did he get in, this guy? In addition to being angry, Namikaze Minato began to doubt and analyze, but there was a barrier around this place, and ordinary people couldn't get in at all. Ah! At this time, Uzumaki Emi cried out in pain, only to see that her body was suddenly covered with the seal of the sealing technique, and a black bulge emerged from her stomach, and you could vaguely feel a chakra. Chen frowned slightly in the distance, this situation is really not good. The seal of Kyuubi, Ninetales, is not finished yet, this is bad. Namikaze Minato secretly thought in his heart, but there was nothing he could do right now. Hurry up and leave the people Jinchuriki column force. Obito said coldly, and when he moved his hand, Obito immediately took out a kunai and pointed it at Naruto. Don't you care what happens to the child? Slow, calm down. Namikaze Minato hurries to stop Obito. Calm down should be said to yourself, Minato. This child's life and death are in your master. Obito said lightly. I am very calm now. As Obito said that, he suddenly threw Naruto high. After that, Obito jumped up suddenly, and Minato started to move in an instant. However, Minato's speed is extremely fast. Hiraition's technique is not. One of the fastest blinking techniques in the Hokage world is Hiraition. Only to see Minato's figure flashing for a moment, he suddenly caught Naruto in the swaddling clothes, faster than Obito. As expected of a flash of color. Obito sighed in admiration, narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "But what will happen next?" Between the words, Obito moved violently. It turned out that Obito had put a detonating talisman on Naruto's swaddle. Drink. Obito hand seal, burst instantly. The detonating talisman on Naruto's body exploded, and there was a loud noise. The fire was soaring into the sky, and the situation was at stake. Namikaze Minato seems to have no thought, subconscious action. He held Naruto with his left hand, and tore off the swaddle with his right hand. The technique of Hiraition was activated, and at the moment of the explosion, he had already rushed out of the house with Naruto in his arms. In the firelight, the house is shattered. The detonating symbol forms a violent shock wave. Namikaze Minato rolled under the shock wave, holding Naruto in his arms tightly. Unharmed, he raised his head, angry and vigilant in his heart. This inexplicable mysterious black-clothed man, what the hell is he trying to do? Minato pondered carefully, his eyes moved slightly, and secretly said, "It seems that he is staring at Kushina, and now he is just trying to lure me away from the house, and he is trying to get away from the mountain. Ah! Is it the idea of the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, Jinchuriki column force?" Namikaze Minato's figure flashed, suddenly disappeared in place, and entered the house. An instant, Namikaze Minato arrived in the house, but the house was empty at this time. Namikaze Minato tried to perceive where Kushina was. Outside the village, there is a secluded cave. The black seal flashes like words, connecting to the surrounding stone Jinchuriki column. Uzumaki Emi is trapped in the center, biting Kiba to suppress the runaway Kyuubi. Nine Tails have gradually become out of control. The chakra of Kyuubi, Nine Tails, emerges, and the terrifying chakra with an ominous aura is shocking. Chen squinted his eyes and felt this unusual chakra, and sighed in his heart. Kyuubi, Nine Tails, finally appears. When Chen sealed Kyuubi, Nine Tails, last time, he chatted with Kyuubi, Nine Tails, for a long time. Kyuubi, Nine Tails, had a very good impression of Chen, and even mistook Chen for the reincarnation of Six Paths Fairy. After so many years, it is finally time to see Kyuubi, Nine Tails, again. In front of Uzumaki Emi, Obito calmly controlled Uzumaki Emi, and under the cold mask, his expression was equally cold. Strictly speaking, Uzumaki Emi in front of him is still his wife, and Namikaze Minato is his teacher. But such a world, such a Konoha, he already cared about it. Obito has completely denied this world, and he wants to use Infinite Tsukuyomi to find happiness in Infinite Tsukuyomi. "You, what are you doing?" Uzumaki Emi asked weakly. "Drag the Kyuubi, Nine Tails, out of your body and destroy the Konoha," Obito said calmly and plainly. "What?" Uzumaki Emi was shocked. However, Obito ignored Uzumaki Emi and said to himself, to instantly move from the space marked with the art to another space. "This is Minato's Hiraition art. That mark seems to be drawn on your seal. Now the seal is loose, and the mark seems to have lost its effect. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time." Obito's consciousness moved, and he began to slowly hand seal, only to see the only part of his right eye, Sharingan, turning frantically. He learned the pupil technique to control Kyuubi, Nine Tails, from Uchiha Madara, and instantly entered the illusion of Kyuubi, Nine Tails, in space. Use Sharingan to control Kyuubi, Nine Tails. Okay, it's almost time to start. After the Obito hand seal was completed, Kyuubi, Nine Tails' fierce eyes suddenly changed into a pair of bloody Yuhi, colored eyes. In the illusion, the restraint on Kyuubi, Nine Tails, gradually opened Shikai, the shackles disappeared, the flames flowed, and the seal was crumbling. "Come out, Kyuubi, Nine Tails. Ask for full order, ask for everything. 418 The Tear of QB, 9 Tails. Open black lens bracket for automatic, for full order close black lens bracket. Come out, QB, 9 Tails. Obito snorted lightly, Sharingan condensed, and turned rapidly. The chakra of the whole body controlled the movements of QB, 9 Tails, and QB, 9 Tails was in a rampant state. Shackles are lifted, and QB's, 9 Tails, ferocity is fully unleashed. A painful cry emanated from Uzumaki Emi, and on her body, a rich Yuhi-colored chakra coat emerged, and then, from her abdomen, QB, 9 Tails, chakra spread out. All kinds of negative emotions, hatred, destruction, terror and other emotions radiated from all around, rushing towards the distant land. A QB, 9 Tails demon fox hundreds of meters high appeared, with fur all over its body. The dark orange Yuhi roared under the moon. The terrifying chakra spread, and this chakra carried an ominous power that shook the space. Very well, let's go to Konoha like this. Obito manipulated QB, 9 Tails, drank softly, and led QB, 9 Tails, forward. Wait. Uzumaki Emi's voice sounded. She was already extremely weak at this moment. Obito turned around and glanced at Uzumaki Emi with admiration. As expected of the Uzumaki clan with strong vitality, when the tailed beast was pulled from the body, the human Jinchuriki column force did not die immediately. But since you are a Jinchuriki column force, you should die at the hands of QB, 9 Tails. Sharingan condensed Obito to control the action of QB, 9 Tails, and grabbed Uzumaki Emi violently. Boom! There was a loud bang, but the blow from QB, 9 Tails, was directly missed. Namikaze Minato finally arrived at this critical moment. As expected of Namikaze Minato, the color is flashy, and the name is not disgraceful. Obito said lightly. Above the treetops in the distance, Namikaze Minato hugged Uzumaki Emi with a serious face. And Uzumaki Emi held on to Namikaze Minato with all her strength and said, "Minato, Naruto, is he alright?" For Uzumaki Emi at this moment, Naruto is more important than his life. Don't worry, he's in a very safe place now. Minato gave a gentle smile and said softly. Uzumaki Emi felt a little relieved and said, "Minato, you must organize that man and QB, 9 Tails, they are going to fight against Konoha." Minato glanced at Obito, his eyes were cold, and he didn't speak. The Hiraishin technique was activated, and the figure disappeared together with Uzumaki Emi. It turned out that Minato used Hiraishin to instantly return to the house and moved Kushina to a safe place. After that, Minato changed into the clothes of the 4th generation of Hokage and disappeared again. Meanwhile, Konoha was quiet and peaceful at this time, and he didn't know what was going on. Street was very lively and bustling with people. On the street, Guy was with Kakashi. Guy was very annoyed. "Don't run, Kakashi, I want to have a showdown with you." Kakashi felt that something was wrong. "Guy, did you feel that the moon has become a lot colder just now?" "No way, it's your illusion, don't try to run away, I must defeat you." Guy is hot-blooded. Kakashi glanced at Guy and stopped talking. Other side, in the land of the Uchiha clan. A 5-year-old boy, holding the baby in his arms, seemed to sense something was wrong, and felt a chill in his heart. It feels like what's going on. This 5-year-old boy is cute, it is Uchiha Itachi. And the baby in his arms is Uchiha Sasuke. The infant Sasuke seemed to be attacked by the cold and burst into tears, while Uchiha Itachi coaxed his younger brother. Good, don't worry, no matter what. Anything, I will protect you." As if this sentence played a role, Sasuke gradually stopped crying and stopped crying. In the Hokage building, Sarutobi Hiruzen was dealing with official business, and at this time, he suddenly felt a different atmosphere, raised his head suddenly, and looked at the moon in the sky. "No, I hope not." In Konoha village, a figure in a black robe appeared and slammed hand seal. Spirituality, QB, 9 Tails. With a loud shout, a huge chakra appeared, soaring into the sky, bursting out with absolute power. An earth-shattering roar was heard, a violent chakra storm swept the world, and the nearest houses were all turned into sawdust. Some villagers were swept up by the storm and fell into the distance. The roar spread throughout Konoha, accompanied by a suffocating chakra. Yuhi's eyes released a terrifying light, and the ominous chakra gathered around like a liquid. Well, what is that? No, it won't, it is. Kyubi, Nine Tails, it's Kyubi, Nine Tails. I don't know which villager recognized it first, and then panic spread everywhere. The villagers fled around like crazy, lest they fall behind. Kyubi, Nine Tails, hands on. Obito gave the order. I saw was Kyubi, Nine Tails' 9 huge tails swiping, forming a scorching wave of air that overturned the surrounding houses and the ground, destroying everything that could be destroyed around. Countless villagers screamed and panicked everywhere, as if this place had become a secluded hell. The news that Kyubi, Nine Tails, attacked the village spread all over the village instantly, and all the ninjas in the village were dispatched. Kakashi, Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, and Sarutobi Hiruzen all got the news. And Ino Shikacho also appeared in the village, and when he moved violently, he saw that Ino Shikacho quickly arrived 100 meters in front of Kyubi, Nine Tails. Meanwhile, Minato has finally arrived. Minato had a panoramic view of the chaos in the village, and his expression tightened. No, we must organize Kyubi, Nine Tails, quickly. It's abominable, if only Chen was here. Minato had this thought inexplicably, and at the same time he was a little flustered. The man in black just now, he should be a member of the Uchiha clan. He can control Kyubi, Nine Tails. Could it be Chen wrong? It can't be, so what is it? One thing. If you want to subscribe automatically. 419 Chen, the frightened Obito. Open black lens bracket for automatic. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Namikaze Minato has constant doubts in his heart and has some doubts about Obito's identity. He can be sure that the person in front of him should be a member of the Uchiha clan, because only the Uchiha clan can control Kyubi, Nine Tails. Namikaze Minato even suspected that the man in black in front of him was Tatsu, but soon dismissed the idea. Chen should not do this, Namikaze Minato thought to himself. His eyes gradually changed. At this time, Kyubi, Nine Tails, roared. Tailed beast bomb condensed in his mouth, and countless chakras gathered and formed, about to erupt. It won't let you succeed. Namikaze Minato roared angrily. I saw Kyubi, Nine Tails' tailed beast bomb bombed out, rolling up a huge force. A surging force attacked Minato. Tailed beast bomb's straight charge. And Minato also noticed the situation at this time, and tried his best to use the technique of Hiraishin. The technique of Hiraishin can transfer all ninjutsu in its strongest state. Of course, transferring tailed beast bomb is not easy and consumes chakra. Minato's Hiraishin technique has reached the strongest stage of practice at this time, and it is even better than the second generation Mizukage, and can transfer tailed beast bomb. Only when tailed beast bomb was close to Shadow Rock, it was blocked by the Hiraishin barrier released by Namikaze Minato. Tailed beast bomb disappeared little by little, and finally exploded 10 kilometers away. Loud bangs spread all over the field, the earth trembled, and the shock wave swept the earth in the distance, like an earthquake. This is. Below, countless ninjas saw this scene, and the light of hope burned in their eyes. It is the art of Hiraishin for the fourth purpose. Akamichi Choza shouted. Don't panic everyone, non-combatants leave quickly. After these words were shouted, everyone woke up, and the non-combatants began to evacuate. The appearance of Namikaze Minato made the chaotic Konoha village instantly have the backbone, and everyone obeyed Namikaze Minato's words and respected him very much. Kyubi, Nine Tails, is very strong. Everyone be careful, try to delay the battle as much as possible, and wait for the third generation of adults and others to come for reinforcements. Namikaze Minato also commanded in an orderly manner, and his voice spread throughout the audience. Yes. The ninjas shouted in unison, all listening to Namikaze Minato's words. Namikaze Minato felt that the situation was getting more and more tense, and shook his head lightly. the situation is urgent, and the situation must be reported to the third generation of adults as soon as possible. Namikaze Minato just wanted to act, but he felt a slight chakra coming from behind him. He was alert, and kunai stabbed sharply, stabbing towards the rear. Only the person who appeared behind Namikaze Minato, the earth action was moving towards Minato, and the master and apprentice actually started a confrontation under such circumstances. Namikaze Minato stabbed Obito, but was easily resolved by Mangekyo's ability, blind, only to see that Obito's body gradually became blurred, making Namikaze Minato unable to attack, and penetrated directly from Obito's body. Penetrating. Namikaze Minato felt that the mysterious black-clothed man in front of him was indeed a bit special, and even he felt extraordinary. Namikaze Minato's kunai actually penetrated through the man in black. At the same time, Obito grabbed Namikaze Minato's hand holding kunai, and at this moment, Obito used the ability of his right eye. Obito has a special space in his right eye that can absorb any object, including people. Obito's right eye released a chakra. This chakra has great suction. This huge suction constantly pulls Namikaze Minato, trying to pull Namikaze Minato into the space. At this moment, Obito was stunned for a moment. You escaped so quickly, it seems that next time I will absorb you faster. Namikaze Minato escaped using the Hiraishin technique. On a grass field, Namikaze Minato's figure suddenly appeared and fell to the ground. Damn, my attack penetrated him, but he can materialize. What kind of ninjutsu is that? Namikaze Minato whispered to himself. At this moment, a Uzumaki storm came, and Obito's figure appeared in front of Minato again. HMPH, I'd like to see where you flee. You are also Grandmaster Chronospace Ninjutsu. There was a hint of clarity in Namikaze Minato's eyes, and he gradually realized the feeling of Obito's Chuninjutsu, which turned out to be time-space ninjutsu. It's over, Namikaze Minato, you can't beat me. Obito's blur is mysterious and unusual. Ordinary people don't know the power of blur, and it is indeed easy to be tricked. Knowing that the seal of Kyubi, Nine Tails, is weak, it can pass through 3 generations of Anbu, pass through the top secret enchantment, and domesticate Kyubi, Nine Tails. There is only one person I know, you are Uchiha Madara. Namikaze Minato asked coldly. No, it's impossible, Uchiha Madara is dead. Who knows, it may not be. Obito said lightly. I don't know if Uchiha Madara is dead or not, all I know is that you are going to die. It's over, it doesn't matter who you are. With anger in his eyes, Minato snorted coldly, ready to fight Obito in front of him. The mysterious black man in front of him has his eyes on Konoha, and Namikaze Minato, as the 4th Hokage, naturally wants to deal with him. Namikaze Minato felt that it was very difficult. The strength of the other party should not be underestimated. He was definitely an extremely dangerous and terrible person. For a time, his spirit was tense. Just as Namikaze Minato confronted Obito and the two were preparing to fight, there was another chakra in the air at this time. This chakra is majestic, rising into the sky, surging, full of vitality. Namikaze Minato was startled at first, then a look of ecstasy appeared on his face, and shouted loudly, Chen, is that you? Darkness, Tatsu's figure finally appeared slowly and came to Namikaze Minato. Minato, long time no see. Chen appeared and glanced at Minato with a slightly complicated look. On the other side, Obito's expression changed greatly, and he was extremely surprised. _____. 420 Sharingan vs Sharingan. Open black lens bracket for automatic, please subscribe close black lens bracket. Chen, you are finally here. Namikaze Minato looked at Chen with infinite surprise in his eyes, and said, Fortunately you are here, I can rest assured when you come. Namikaze Minato has unreserved trust in Chen, although Chen betrays the village, but in Minato's heart he is still his best friend. Stay safe. Chen sighed lightly, knowing in his heart that this is only the last time he and this friend will meet, and even if we meet again in the future, I am afraid that it will depend on impure world reincarnation. Uchiha Chen. Obito's expression brightened, looking at Chen. A bit of amazement appeared under the mask. At this time Obito didn't know that Chen was Akatsuki's leader, and he didn't know that Chen always knew his secret. After all, when she was with Madara, she was wearing a mask. Obito's face showed surprise and sigh. He didn't expect to meet Chen here. In Obito's previous life, Chen was the idol he admired the most. However, Obito only sighed slightly in his heart, and his eyes quickly returned to determination. This world has long been denied by him, for this he will spare no expense, anyone who stands in front of him will die. Thinking of this, Obito snorted coldly, looked at Chen and said, Uchiha Chen, it's very good, I didn't expect it to be possible. Meet you here. Minato, go and deal with Kyuubi, Nine Tails first, just leave it to me here. Chen said lightly. Regardless of. Anyway, the friendship between Chen and Minato is still there, and Chen still intends to help Minato once. Minato glanced at Chen gratefully, of course he was very relieved to leave it to Chen, and immediately nodded slightly, then please. Well. Minato's figure flashed, and the technique of Hiraishin was used, and he immediately went to deal with Kyuubi, Nine Tails. Obito, on the other hand, is looking at Chen like an enemy. Although Obito's strength has grown terribly now, Chen's reputation is too loud. The legend of the stars back then was really like a shooting star, an existence that everyone can only look up to. The method of the legend of the stars, I have long wanted to experience it. Obito thought about it for a while, but was not afraid at all. After all, he has the ability to virtualize space. This ability is called, as long as he wants to escape, no one really can stop him. Obito moved violently, approaching Chen in an instant, using the power of Avatar to approach Chen, then holding kunai in his hand, he rushed out. Chen narrowed his eyes and noticed Obito's actions. Obito, the guy Obito, quickly approached Chen, showing his amazing strength. In the blink of an eye, his body suddenly burst into a powerful force. Chen squinted his eyes, but he didn't panic. The ground flew up and kicked Obito directly, turning out to be preparing to fight with taijutsu. At this moment, Chen's kick passed Obito's body directly, and Obito easily used his avatar ability to avoid Chen's blow. Oh, this is your Sharingan ability, not bad. Chen felt the blurring at close range. Power is indeed capable of penetrating people. This time-space ninjutsu is very difficult to deal with. If it is replaced by other people, it is really difficult to deal with. Humph. Obito snorted coldly, took this opportunity, and stretched out his hand suddenly, the kunwu in his hand stabbed towards Chen. Obito is very confident, his ability in melee combat is definitely not inferior to anyone. Obito's kunwu is towards Chen he stabbed, and the situation was at a critical juncture. Seeing that Chen was about to be stabbed by Obito, a smug smile appeared in Obito's eyes, as if he was satisfied with his success. If he can win the Legend of the Stars, it would be such an honor. But in the next moment, Obito felt something was wrong, and only saw a white flame suddenly rise above Chen's body. The white flame suddenly rose and wrapped directly. Zuchen's whole body formed a layer of alternative absolute defense. It was extremely terrifying. Other hand, Obito let out a scream, feeling the white flames on his arms, and the flames spread rapidly. In addition to screaming, Obito made a decisive decision and immediately cut off the part of his arm that was stained with flames. Fortunately, this arm of Obito was cultivated with Senjuhashirama cells, and there were new replacements at any time, otherwise it would be extremely dangerous. This flame is your Sharingan special ability. Obito was surprised. Chen smiled lightly. Sharingan is fair to Sharingan. Sharingan confronts Sharingan. Obito snorted softly and took a step back involuntarily. In the brief confrontation just now, Obito had already felt the power of Chen Sharingan, especially the white flame, which was too domineering and could not be extinguished at all. Once infected, I am afraid that I will never have the same good luck as before. How to fight Obito like this? His eyes flickered and he was surprised. Chen and Obito, both Sharingan Mangekyo,'s abilities are very strong. This is also the first time Chen has met Obito in a head-to-head confrontation. Chen is also very clear in his heart that it is not difficult for him to win Obito, but it is indeed more difficult to catch or kill Obito. Difficulty: Obito's avatar ability is too special, he can hide into space at any time, it's too difficult to catch him. HMPH, it really deserves to be a legend of the stars. It is indeed difficult to deal with you. I admit that it is not your opponent, but you can't even think about dealing with me. Obito said coldly and stepped back. Now that Kyuubi, Ninetales, is attacking the village, you must all be concerned about this and the other. Obito sneered and gloated. Chen said lightly, you misunderstood, if you want to destroy Konoha, I agree with both hands, but I'm just helping Minato. Obito was stunned for a moment, but he didn't expect Chen to answer like this. However, I still want to get something here. Your pupil power is still reluctant to manipulate Kyuubi, Ninetales. Thank you for helping me channel Kyuubi, Ninetales. Kyuubi, Ninetales, I took it. Chen said lightly. What? Obito reacted suddenly, feeling that something was wrong. Chen's goal is actually Kyuubi, Ninetales. For automatic, for subscription, for everything to read the novel without underline, please download Feilu Novel.